He has labored, he has suffered to lead his people into the land of freedom. He is the Redeemer.
I wouldn't speak for the majority because, as I told you, we have not been consulted as a caucus for us to state our position. But me, Apia Kubi, you can solicit my view on that. If it was for me to choose, I would choose him. Why? He's not my preference. Apia Kubi is saying that he is not my preference. But that doesn't mean that he is not qualified. Well, if there was an opportunity like that, I would express a candidate, however acceptable or otherwise, to our presidential candidate. I would want somebody who will be open with the people on the ground, who will be able to deliver the votes, and who would also submit to the presidency, and who will also be important in bringing parliament closer to executive. I would probably select somebody who is more acceptable by the generals going to the war, the parliamentarians. We should find somebody who, if the presidential candidate is not there, he will hold the hand of a member of parliament and go and conduct campaign in that member of parliament's constituency. I don't see that happening in this equation. He cannot hold my hand. So why would I say that I prefer him?
Sabe, Mr. American. Yeah, you be young boy. And tonight, I am chef fees. Near Shampabwa, your share school bag, your share school books. And to one take that. Say, you have not got out to go school 4 or 5 years old in the books. Yeah, when is that? Yeah, progressively free at the by a panty and car. Then, yeah, maybe be at the phone before. Some are not born necessarily. Maybe be at the phone before. ATM, oh, be sorry. Now, so NDC for say, woman preference, on Pacono, or Nindia Oka. As some Oka, no tears. No one can say, oh, Mahama see about better phrases. And no one will cry at miracle, we will tonight. As not making in our war. I love one. Oh, be also war. I've be a chair say. You are John Ramana Mahama Kojina, baby. I can say free SHS no between on farm radiation. When to me farm the memo be Angelini. Yan can't be sad. See, I dear for and I express Ramo. Yen say, ah, say, Nakagana dear, me for me so whether not the Moja coffee. And now we're done your dam and your coffee so we bread the hospital. And to sa. Nina then she say, a beton, the Bebu, Aquamo, be a better. Near Behu Sassano, so a caco, or be a fa pepe. As I knew who said pepper and the woman. And yet the other be no idea too.
And you live your own. And to tia would you a kunini for. And son who call a whom would do a better politician. What a team of rubber bray, penny. Na adwina wo no eno na mesra se nyame boa na bibia akọ no kwanso a odi ebeboa ni yapagya Ghana man.
The Paramount's Chief and Traditional Council
He has labored, he has suffered to lead his people into the...
What is fully under your control, and see where you can cut this, you can postpone this, you can reprioritize, and be honest with the people of Ghana. Because of A, B, C, D, E, and F, we will shelve this. We will put this on the back burner. We will prioritize this because it has to do with education, it has to do with a human life, and so on and so forth. You don't...
He has labored.
Station is Pan-African Television. We're broadcasting live from the Osajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah studios. And we're also live on Facebook, Pan-African Television, on YouTube, Pan-African Television. It's the mother of all talk shows, Alhaji and Alhaji. Like I said, live on Pan-African Television, live on the social media platforms. If you join us on the social media platform, do share your thoughts with us, what you think about the discussions we'll be having. It's a part of the show that I read what you're thinking. So I'll get there. So do share those thoughts with us if you're watching us via Facebook or via YouTube. If you're listening to us on radio, via Radio Gold or the many other affiliates that we have currently tuning to us, to give us that wider reach so that you can listen to us wherever you are and however you are moving. We want to say a big thank you to you for choosing us. I am Senna Nombo. Well, this morning, we're going back to the discussion of the DDEP, particularly from the perspective of what was supposed to be done with foreign bondholders. Well, they said they have an agreement in place. Government says it has an agreement in place. And if you listen to the finance minister, he says there's a lot to celebrate. In fact, they've been able to resolve the issues in the economy to the point that the opposition cannot campaign on matters of the economy. That's how fantastically well they have done. And in fact, that day he said, watch the city. He was speaking in London. He said, watch the city the next day. There are many analysts who says, I've watched the city, I've been watching the city, nothing is happening. So that's our very first discussion. What the finance minister calls the conclusion of the DDEP and the celebrations he's calling for. And then we'll move on to issues with Kenya. Kenya has attracted a lot of attention by some members of parliament who had gone there for a program, were locked up when these things happened. The youth are protesting. First, the protest was over the finance bill 2024. The president decides to withdraw the finance bill and say, I won't sign it anymore. I'm sending it back to parliament. The youth are now saying, we can't trust you anymore. This was not what you promised. You didn't promise us more taxes. So we want you gone. That was it. So it created a whole issue. In fact, there are questions of massacres happening as a result of the protests. And I will read some of the latest development from Kenya when we get there. And I will conclude with the Great Transformation Plan. For many months, you've heard Solomon Owusu and then lawyer Pierre Dankwa refer to the Great Transformation Plan as what they believe is a solution to Ghana's economic issues. Now, they finally launched it this week. That was Monday. It was launched Monday. So we'll be discussing that plan, how they intend to get Ghana out of the situation we find ourselves. Well, this morning, we're joined in the studio by Kwame Kwesi Prajina, who is General Secretary of the Socialist Movement of Ghana. Solomon Owusu is a member of the Movement for Change, Alliance for Revolutionary Change, which is the bigger umbrella body now. And then we're also joined by the parliamentary candidate of the NDC in Wale, who is Honorable Abubakar Abdallah. Honorable Abuba is famously called. He's joined us in studio. And then we would also be joined by Mr. Kojo Chumbuafo, who is former executive director of the Free Zones Board. Well, so that's our panel for today to discuss the issues we've tabled. But we start today's program with a conversation with one of the known voices when it comes to Alhaji and Alhaji. For many, many years, they kept the show running, kept it hot, and was one of the reasons this show gained popular acclaim. Dr. Joseph Tony Edu is former Deputy Defense Minister and former Ambassador to the Netherlands for Ghana. Doc, good morning, and I hope you're well.
Good morning, Senna, and greetings to your listeners and viewers. I'll be more grateful if you can turn up your volume a bit because I can hardly hear you.
Okay. Doc, noted. Is it better now?
Yes, it's better.
Fantastic. And how's your health, by the way?
Well, comme si, comme ça, but we are hanging in. Thanks for asking.
Doc has joined us to share some thoughts on the matters in relation to the DDEP and the economy and what the finance minister wants to celebrate. Doc, you know how this thing works, so you have the mic. Please go ahead.
Yeah, still your volume has gone down again. I don't understand. But I got your question. I think what I can do is to introduce an element that has been missing in the discourse on the comparative management of Ghana's economy over the years. If you observe, there is a discernible pattern that has characterized successive governments managed by the Dankwa-Busia political orientation. It starts with Busia, went through Kufuor, and has ended up with Akufo-Addo. That pattern is borrow as much as you can, squander the money you have borrowed, declare bankruptcy, and when you get accepted as a bankrupt, you sue for debt relief. Busia did that between 1969 and 1970, and it was the basis of his quarrel with his finance minister, J.H. Mensah. Kufuor did that with the declaration of HIPIC from 2003 to 2008. And the advantages gained by HIPIC were misused. The question we used to ask is, Nasikanoai? Akufo-Addo has done even worse. All this show that there is a clear pattern of incompetent management of Ghana's economy anytime the MPP comes to power. People have given undeserved accolades to Kufuor's management of the economy. We do know that the benefits of HIPIC was not only in the HIPIC relief, which amounted to well over 8 billion, but also in the debt cancellation which the regime achieved or was given to the regime between the period 2006 to 2007. And yet, by the time Kufuor was leaving office, our foreign debt has climbed up to its previous level again. The debt cancellation was 66% of our debt, which stood at 6.3 billion in 2006. 66% brought our debt, foreign debt, to about 2 billion. By the time Kufuor was leaving, that debt has climbed up to 8 billion again. Incredibly enough, all the so-called social intervention programs launched by Kufuor were funded by foreign donors. Virtually all. School feeding, maternal care, were all funded by donor support. Enter Akufo-Addo. The same policy of borrow, squander, declare bankruptcy, get debt relief has been pursued as the sine qua non of the management of Ghana's economy. What the finance minister said is nothing but self-glorification and self-denial of the actual facts on the ground, that they are simply incompetent. Their whole knowledge of financial management of the Ghanaian economy is to borrow, squander, get into debt and then sue for bankruptcy and debt relief. Pattern, follow, one after the other. KTP's ideology of property owning democracy, development in freedom, and new capitalism. Here you are, you have declared ideologically, that you are a center-right party committed to promotion of private capital as the engine of growth. Every word that springs from your mouth like confetti in rhetorics indicate that you are the ones who are championing Ghana's development through freedom. Freedom for the private enterprise to thrive. And yet, you are full of ideational contradictions. You are full of policy contradictions. It's like a farmer who eats his eggs and expects his chicken population to grow. You are eating the eggs that lead to the generation of chicken. Here you are, you go to Parliament to seek tax forgiveness for private industries, selected private industries. And yet, you impose taxes on existing manufacturers with the effect that you kill their capacity. That if you cannot play the capitalist game, don't play it. What business do you have to impose price restrictions? And it's very interesting that K.T. Hammond has on 2 occasions tried to pass allies always towards the end of parliamentary sittings so that he can rush it through the mandatory 21-day sitting, and then there will be no debate. But then, I don't blame K.T. Hammond. You have to blame the whole country for restricting Ghana's development to an ideological premise that cannot advance the progress of Ghana. It is impossible for Ghana to develop with a capitalist mode of production, for God's sake. What is happening is that we are performing peripheral capitalist functions in a world dominated by core capitalist countries who sees your only ticket to participate as your possession of raw materials and natural resources which they feel they have a right to exploit. They know that you have a high fertility and high population growth, and therefore they cannot allow you to control your natural resources because your poverty is a function of their richness. They are rich because you are poor. If they allow you to exploit your natural resources, it means you'll be depriving them of their means of welfare in their metropolitan counties. That is the essence of it. And we have to realize that capitalism is by nature organically exploitative. Capitalism do not conspire to come and exploit you. You are exploited because you are exploitable. You are vulnerable. That is the essence of it. Capitalists do not conspire to exploit you, but the conspiracy element comes when their interests are threatened. In the 60s, when the group of 84 or so was formed at the UN, leading to the establishment of UNCTAD, the trend was confiscation of foreign properties and nationalization. I remember one of my own lecturers, George Schwarzenberger, called it neo-barbaric policies. I used to challenge him in class and I said, the United Nations Charter directs that we should have sovereignty over our natural resources. If we express that right in practice, is it neo-barbaric as compared to the Americans dropping napalm bombs in Vietnam and killing children? But that is the orientation, the behavior and ideological orientation of Western bourgeois economic thought. That's how it's been, and that's how it will be. So I'm not surprised that currently the MPP is jubilating because they have a relief from a partial relief from the very mess that they have created over the past 8 years. They are not concerned with national interest. They are concerned with regime interest, and they will pursue it to the detriment of the ordinary Ghanaian. That's a historical record.
Look, thank you very much. But before you go, do you have some comments on the Kenyan issue?
Well, Kenya. You remember President Marcos of the Philippines? He was also removed by people's power. Not by military, but people's power. There comes a point in the governance of every country where the underprivileged realize that they have no hope in the politicians, and they will rebel. We hope that we do not have a mass revolution on our hands, but for one is for armed.
Look, thank you. Thank you very much for joining us this morning. And we should
You are
have
most welcome.
Dr. Joseph Toniedu is former Deputy Defense Minister and Ambassador to the Netherlands. So he's kicked off the conversation on the DDEP. And of course, I guess go into the matter. And this morning, I'll start with Honorable Abuba on the issue of the debt restructuring program. Good morning. Yeah, nice to see you. It's been quite a while.
Thank you so much, and then congratulations once again.
Thank you. Thank you.
I wish you well. Good morning to senior comrades on the platform. The butterfly is sitting next to me. We'll soon be talking about you, so I wouldn't talk much for now. Listen to the finance minister, and I felt so sad. Very, 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 very sad. One was about the economy, and one was personal. One of my problems that was personal with regards to what I heard from the finance minister was that I felt the misgovernance of this MPP government is actually leading to the destruction of some fine brains that I felt shouldn't belong to the MPP. To hear the finance minister, Dr. Amina Ansah, my brother, is an individual that I've always admired. And when he was appointed a finance minister, I saw a recipe for the destruction of his character and reputation. And it played out clearly when I heard him talk after the successful deliberations on the restructuring of the debt. And the conversation this morning, if we are to understand it, we need to investigate the context and where we are coming from as a nation. This is a government in 2016 that traversed every nook and cranny of this country to attack and insult and condemn the NDC government then for excessive borrowing. So 8 years down the lane, from 2016 to 2024, after the so self-acclaimed competent individuals have taken us through their style of administration and governance, our debt, that was 122 billion, is currently now at over 568 billion. What kind of competence takes a debt of a country from 122 billion to over 600, almost 600, or more than 600 as we speak? As we speak now, it is now 658.6 billion Ghana cedis, dollars. Now, cedis. Now, the same country, the same people of this government told us in 2016 that it was a lazy approach to borrow. They've borrowed and they've taken the economy into bankruptcy. It is the same people who told us in 2016, some part of 2022, they told us they were not going to the IMF. And that Ghana was a sovereign state with pride, that there was no way under the leadership of the then finance minister that Ghana will go to the IMF. Every Ghanaian listening to me this morning will bear testimony to the fact that we have not only gone to the IMF, we were not even qualified to go to the IMF after 8 years of the administration. They told us there was not going to be haircuts. The very people who promised us there was not going to be haircuts ended up giving almost everybody a sakura, including pensioners. The pensioners who are now at home and was taking little monies from the investment they made were also denied the luxury of their investments. The same people, led by His Excellency Nana Akufo-Addo, traversed the whole globe with deep throat foreign accent, told everybody Ghana was beyond aid and we're moving, and our dream and vision was to get to a stage where Ghana was now beyond aid. I am bringing and cataloging these 4 important factors to dovetail into the conversation of today, where a government, after 8 years of its administration, after having failed to honor these promises they made, took us to the level where we're now bankrupt to the extent that we're no longer able to service our debt to our bilateral partners and bondholders. We defaulted in 2022. About 30 billion we're not able to pay. And in trying to go to the very IMF that we talked about not going, we realized that we're not even qualified after all to even go to borrow. So today, I hear a finance minister who tells me that when it comes to macroeconomic front, they've done far better than the NDC. Then I wonder the kind of economics this government is using in managing this economy. When Ghana was going to IMF under the NDC, under the leadership of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, we didn't have to go through debt restructuring to be able to qualify for the money we needed from IMF. Today, for only $3 billion, Ghana had to do debt restructuring, both domestic and international, in order to be able to qualify to get not anything but only $3 billion. How do you compare such situations? Then we move on to the next level where he talks about the fact that, okay, the NDC can no longer campaign on the economy. I don't think his ability to restructure debt at the international scene has something to do with the price of tomato. The Ghanaian is living under serious economic hardships. Prices of goods and services are skyrocketing. When we were in secondary school and we learned about hyperinflation, we thought it was only a hypothetical situation that will never exist. Somewhere within 2022, the inflation of Ghana went as far as to 54%, and that was hyperinflation. Currently, Ghana is one of the countries in Africa with the highest food prices. An agrarian economy like Ghana now being one of the countries where the price of food is so high. The economy will still be in this mess. And I would want to call on my brother, the finance minister, not to allow his attempt to defend this indefensible situation to mar his reputation that people have known him for. Look, this economy, as we experience today, and the celebration they are calling Ghanaians to join them, I will want to tell Ghanaians who are listening to us this morning not to accept the invitation from these people to celebrate mediocrity. Because what happened at the point of the agreement of the debt restructuring, in my view, is calling us to come and celebrate remedial performance. You ruin the economy, you push the economy into bankruptcy, we are no longer able to pay our debt, we don't even have money for internal development, we are going to IMF, and IMF is giving us very harsh conditionalities for us to meet before they give us $3 billion. And after having been able to secure a debt restructuring with our bilateral donors, which is a remedial measure to get our economy to have breathing space, you call on every Ghanaian to join you to celebrate a victory. Indeed, this is actually a celebration of mediocrity, and I don't think Ghanaians should join them in celebrating this. As to whether the money, the $360 million that they are going to get after the successful restructuring is enough to cure the economic ills of this economy, it's an obvious no. Because this government, as said by the respected Dr. Tony Edo, they are very good at squandering money. Within the 8 years of their administration, they've squandered much more money than the money they are getting from the IMF. And let me also remind listeners that debt restructuring is not the same as forgiving our debts. They are only pushing the debt Ghanaians are supposed to pay into the future in order to have breathing space. So the Ghanaian economy will continue to suffer under the bad leadership of this group of people that who are clueless as to how to manage an economy. And the finance minister, the previous finance minister, has created a very huge mess to the extent that I want to assure my brother, Dr. Ansah, that it is not going to be possible to get us out of this mess within a short period of time. It is a prosperity problem, and Ghanaians need to think through and offer an opportunity to other people with other ideas, and in this case I call for His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, who knows how to navigate difficulties in order to get the economy on a high speed, to come back and remedy the situation. As for the call for us to to join them in the celebration of this signing of the agreement to restructure the debt, I will want to call on Ghanaians to resist and to refuse that invitation to celebrate mediocrity.
Thank you. Thank you very much. He's the NDC parliamentary candidate for Wali Wali. Like I said, it's popularly called Honorable Abuba. Let me go through a comment. This is one comment. There's someone who, when was listening to Dr. Tony Edu on the Marcos issue, says, and his wife, Imelda Marcos, who had uncountable collection of shoes, not to talk of jewelry and the lavish lifestyle. There's MacDo who says, it is only in Ghana where your debts are postponed, then we see it as economic achievement, particularly when MPP led by the super incompetent president and vice president and flag bearer. Never again should MPP rule this country. MacDo sent that from Alaju. That's a comment I'm reading from Facebook. Thank you for sending that message. Johnny Kuja says, to be honest with you, these people are so wicked and insensitive to the plight of Ghanaians. You have borrowed to the extent that you cannot pay, and you have pleaded with the people to give you time to pay this one too. This one too, you have to praise yourself and jubilate. Do these people? Okay. Thank you very much for that message. Mr. Usu.
Good morning, Senator. Good morning to my co-panelists and to your cherished viewers, particularly all members of the Movement for Change and Alliance for Revolutionary Change. that the sorrows of this country will be a thing of the past come 2025, when we have gotten a true leader. Where we are is lack of leadership. So I will begin this morning by admonishing Ghanaians that they should resist any attempt by this government and its functionaries in trying to use propaganda to whitewash the sitting incompetent president together with his unserious vice president, and for that matter, the flag bearer of the NPP. No amount of words. They must not allow people to use adjectives to whitewash incompetence. This is pure mediocrity being served to the people of this country. I watched Ansah. You first of all ask yourself where he made this statement. I listened to him at a town hall meeting of the NPP in the UK. So the context must define your understanding of what he was doing. Who was his audience? He was speaking to NPP fanatics, NPP supporters in the UK, whom most of them, I'm not sure, knows exactly what is happening in this country, because they pick their information mostly from the news portals. And depending on who is paying more and who is controlling the media narrative, you are likely to get them to follow on seriousness. Remember, it was the same UK town hall meeting that the Attorney General, Godfrey Yeboah-Dame, also went and made some bizarre statement that after his cross-examination of Jackpa or so, the evidence that had been tendered were all destroyed. So clearly they were doing politicking. And like my brother Abuba said, you see, Ansah came across as someone who was serious before becoming the Minister of Finance. And I remember one of the shows on Pan-Africa on Mondays, I descended on him heavily. When after being given the position of a finance minister, he went straight away to Manshia and lied to the king. That monies were sitting down there to deal with all the problems in the Ashanti region. That was when I gave up on him. I realized that he has been infested. And mind you, his position, that's the finance minister's position, was originally offered to Kwaku Kwarteng. That's what people are not knowing. So you ask yourself, why Kwaku Kwarteng will reject such a juicy position? Mind you, he has been a deputy finance minister before, so his dream would have been to be the substantive minister. But on this occasion, Kwaku Kwarteng said he preferred to serve the party in parliament rather than to accept the position of the Minister of Finance. Because he knew that with this president and his vice and the make of the new patriotic party now, there was nothing like truthfulness in their dictionary. So he was only going to be used to spew non-fat. Listen, this whole idea of domestic debt exchange program or debt exchange program, why did we get to where we are? And here, Abuba, your party will not be able to go scot-free on this matter. Ghana has been to the IMF for the 17th time. We were made to go through this debt exchange program because we wanted to take advantage of the IMF program. Is that not the case? NPP and NDC for 32 years, all that they have done was to send us to the IMF. Because we have always had an issue with our balance of payment position. So we seem not to be getting things right. Why do we have a problem with our balance of payment position? It is because as a country, we are not producing. That is a fundamental problem. We are having to import more than export. So what our leaders have been doing is that they only promise without giving us a concrete plan. That when I come, just like we are doing now, we are going into a major election. What are the politicians doing? They are promising. But what the electorates, what the Ghanaian is not asking, is that what are the plans backing the various promises you are giving to the people to be able to achieve what are you are saying? We don't ask that. We are only following, yeah, Joe boy. So when they come and they disappoint us, then we tend to be angry. We don't have to be angry because we are the same people that put these people there. What did we see? What were the probing questions? To find out whether or not, given the opportunity, they will be able to, as it were, execute all the mandate or all the promises that they are giving to you. We don't ask that. So politicians in this country get away with a lot of nonsense. Now, have you cited any of the agreements we have been told of? No. Sen, have you cited it? No. Interestingly, you have the media platforms promoting this nonsense that we have reached an agreement. What sort of agreement? You don't have any media landscape. Maybe you have asked them, and maybe they will not even give you the opportunity. I know. You are from Pan-Africa, you are from Radio Good. You don't side with government. You are not one of those that are fanatics of this government. So they won't give you the opportunity. But they have their platform. Go across that platform. And they did this propaganda with the foreign media. You read Reuters, you read CNN, you read Bloomberg. All of them were carrying the same story. That an agreement has been reached. Mind you, whatever agreement the finance minister together with this government reaches, they are doing it on behalf of the people of this country. And as a citizen of this country, are you in the know as to whatever is contained in the agreement? It's pure propaganda. Pure propaganda to deceive the minds of the people that we have done something and that give us the mandate to continue ruling this country from 2025. That is the essence of this whole piece. Now, the finance minister made an irresponsible statement that I couldn't believe it. That he, as the finance minister, could say that. He's saying investing in government bonds is an individual investment decision. And that when you invest and there are troubles, it's your own palaver. But this is a caring government that even though you made a mistake of investing in government bond, we have thought of it or seen the need to come to your aid. Is that how a finance minister says? So now what you said, do you think for a moment that if I have money, I would make that mistake in investing in government bonds? Because then it becomes an individual risk. Growing up and learning economics, be it economics without tears or econ 101, we have been told that government bonds are the safest pair of bonds. Safest. Any book, any literature on economics will tell you safest. Like Abuba said, hyperinflation. I learned it that at a point in time, Germany, you will be there, you are buying beer. By the time you are done, the price of beer has gone up. I never thought I would experience it during my lifetime in Ghana. It took this government, led by Nana Akufo-Addo and Bobie, to disprove all this economic theory. That indeed government bonds are not safe. And that hyperinflation is not just theoretical, but it's something that you can experience it in your lifetime. And that's what we are going through. Then on the same occasion, you have the finance minister in the midst of this nonsense promising that between June and October they are going to unleash 1.5 billion to those that have been affected. Why do we do this to ourselves? You have told the world that you don't have the money. In fact, when the RENA unit issue came up, what were we told? The government didn't have money to even deal with an issue of 4 million. 4 million cities to save people on dialysis. Now we are told that we have money enough. Why do you think recently the paramedics, the lab technicians went on strike? Now I'm told a lot of labor unions are about going on strike. And government is telling them that we don't have money. All of a sudden, because of politics, because he felt he was dealing with gullible minds. In any case, Canada and Japan has told us that the most stupid supporters are MPP supporters. Maybe that one came into his mind. So he thought that he had to give them wrong info. nothing of this is going to happen. But you see, the sad aspect, you see the way we are pampering our foreign creditors. This whole domestic debt exchange program, it started when? Is it not December of 2022? That we started giving locals their haircut, which compelled the former Chief Justice. She's your auntie or sister or something. You to your family members, they have disappointed this country power. When we speak, you will come and say anything otherwise. But the president who is mismanaging the country is coming from your family. Family trait. Come and destroy everything. It took the former Chief Justice to go and pick it. If you throw out so because your family is destroying this country. Akufo-Addo has people, he's from that family. Given the opportunity, to destroy. Now,
that's not fair comment.
It took the former Chief Justice to go and pick it at the Finance Ministry before they started even listening to them. When patriotic Ghanaians have responded to the call of this government, we needed money to embark on developmental projects. Because that is the essence of bond. Floating of bonds is to solicit for funding from the public to embark on your developmental agenda. These people have loaned you their money. Pay me if you don't have the money. The government was rather behaving as though they were doing these bond holders a favor. And as we speak, many of them have died through this process. They have died for no cause. So if you have a finance minister and a government that felt that they needed to deal with their locals first, destroy them first before they go into the international market, then it becomes a problem. 137 billion they were able to restructure, which has affected, and this is the reason why the economy is where it is. Now, did I hear the finance minister say that everything is solved because of whatever negotiations they have done? Are you sure? Do you believe in what he said? The finance minister must not be annoying the sensibilities of the good people of this country. And what I want to tell the people of this country is that this is a government that knows that it is going to opposition. And from the signals that we are picking from the system, they could suffer the heaviest defeat in a lifetime. So the decision that they have taken is to lose with a respectable scoreline. And so some of these decisions are being taken to reduce the embarrassment. And that is all to it. It's to reduce the embarrassment so that they can go out and then, if possible, reorganize themselves and come back after Lanchemantin so that they can come and save themselves. Other than that, there is no head until Ghana has not enjoyed anything. We must even demand where they have gotten to with their agreement so that we will know whether in the midst of troubles, mind you, this is a government that takes advantage of situations that are very dire. During the height of COVID, that we were seriously in pain, what did they do? Did they not go and bring a company called Frontiers? The company itself, the name is a problem. They were fronting for these people to come and collect $94 million, Senna, and only gave this government $6 million. We asked the health minister. He said he didn't know anything about that company. We asked the transport minister. He said he didn't know anything about it. We asked the Ghana Airport Company. They said they did not know anything about it. We asked the presidency. They also said they didn't know anything about it. So who was the one that brought these frontiers into this country to come and then do what they did to us? It was during COVID that we were told by this government that they were able to feed people with 54 million Ghana cedis. Were you fed? Were you fed? So it is a matter of urgency that we are exposed to the level of arrangements or negotiations they are doing. Other than that, These people who go and negotiate at an interest rate of 10%, I'm telling you, they'll come and give it to the people of this country at an interest rate of 20%. So that once in the opposition, anytime government makes payment, they will go and take their share. And this must be resisted. And we will resist. I'll end my submission here.
Thank you very much, Solomon also. He says we need to see the details of that agreement. Well, if you just join us, the Mother of All Talk Shows, Alhaji and Alhaji. We are live on Pan-African Television. We are live from the Osajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah studios of Pan-African Television. We are on Facebook, Pan-African Television, YouTube, Pan-African Television. We are live on Radio Gold, 90.5 FM. Let me come to Mr. Chumbuafo.
Yes, good morning to you. Good morning to your listeners and watchers. Good morning to my fellow panelists. Honorable Kuba, it's a pleasure meeting you for the first time. I've heard so much about you. Nice to meet you. As for my big brother and my uncle, we talk often, so it's good to be back here. As for you, sometimes the least said, the better, but I'll see you in the car park after the show. For finally recognizing that I had some relatives who were destroying this country, because if I recall, some years back, you are one of their biggest advocates, and I warned you about them. Senator, I have often told you that some of the people running this government deserve to be in a mental hospital. But you see, unfortunately, they have also stolen the mental hospital. You see? So, when the time comes where they need dormitories and tents in the mental hospital, I wonder where we will have to put them. Senator, a finance minister, that's if he is indeed the finance minister, in anything but name, tells us that we should be excited that he is gone and rescheduled our execution. Because that's what, in a sense, they've done. You're a condemned man. Then the head of the jail cell walks into your jail cell and tells you, hey, be happy. We've rescheduled your execution. That makes us really happy. Because rescheduling the debt is basically kicking the can down the road for posterity to pay. Right? Rescheduling that debt is like Pontius Pilate washing his hands. But even worse is that the finance minister told us that we should understand that if we invest in government bonds, it's our own decision. Hey, Ansah, what about that man? What is the finance lexicon for government bonds? It is called a risk-free rate bond. The risk-free rate assumes that you can rely on government paper. The government issues the paper, and after they default, we are told by the finance minister that it's your own doing. So why is there a law in this country that mandates that when you are paid, the money must go to a bank? Do you remember that during the old days, you are paid your cash at the accounts office, and if you decide to put it under your bed, that's your business. Now, the law mandates that you are paid by electronic transfer into a bank account. Why do we have that law, Mr. Finance Minister? And instead of offering us an unqualified apology for the dross that you people have instituted in this country over the last 8 years, you go and sit in London at a so-called fundraiser where you claim that you made 1.2 million pounds. The people were sitting there, how could they have contributed 1 million pounds, 1.2 million pounds? Another money laundering operation, right? And then when you finish, you talk to us from abroad. Yeah, that's it. On December 7, we will talk to you from here. And make sure that there isn't even 4 big pens missing in that office. Because you will account for every single thing. And don't come and tell us that you've only been there for a short time. Don't try to use any back channels to get to President Mahama or anybody else that you didn't know about what was going on. Because like my brother, who I would like to meet in the car park after this show, said, Kweku Kwati refused the post. A lot of people don't know that. So it's not everybody in the MPP who is unprincipled. Kweku Kwati absolutely refused to get involved with this rubbish. Because Kweku Kwati didn't want to have to carry Kenuforiata to spring meetings at World Bank when he was supposed to have been sacked, wearing his white, still reading his Bible verses when he's put us where he's put us. During the so-called banking crisis, whatever it is that they called it, you spent 25 billion cedis to solve a 9 billion cedi problem. There were banks that were owed money by contractors the government hadn't paid, and you closed it down for insolvency. Who does that? I mean, unfortunately, one of them was Kwesi Ndum's bank. But for Kwesi Ndum, it's good for him. Because he was the one tweeting prior to 2016 that President Mahama must go. So President Mahama went. There's an old Chinese saying, be careful what you wish for, because you may just get it. You got what you wish for. Now you see the rate at which his gray hair is grown. You see the rate at which his hair is falling out. You got what you wish for, Kwesi Ndum. Next time, be good to your creditors because they know who you are. The NDC gave you your banking license, right? But you ran around like President Mahama was go. The NDC brought you to this country. Be good to your creditors. They know who you are. Now you are complaining you want your license back. So what? The MPP won't give you your license back, and then you pray on a future NDC government to give you your license. They will give your license to me to give to you.
Why you don't want to give to him?
Huh?
You will not give to him.
He begged, he prayed. You know his tweets.
Yes.
Mahama must go. And Mahama went.
Mahama is back. You will give it to him.
They will give his license to me. You see, my brother, a lot of people have suffered. And the finance minister was glibly saying, oh, we know some people have died. Hell yes, some people have died. There are some people who can't pay for medication, they are ill. People have spent 35 years working and saving. Their savings are gone. And you glibly just say, oh, people have died. Some of the people whose emoluments from their pensions you've rescheduled, you said they should come back and start collecting the money at the same rate of interest when they are 78. But the life expectancy of a Ghanaian man is 62. The life expectancy of a Ghanaian woman is 67. So none of the men or women will need the money. In theory. Because at any rate, at a certain age, many of us as people of Negroid origin will start developing certain diseases. It's fact, it's in our genotype. If you don't have money to buy the medication, for hypertension, for cholesterol, for diabetes, and all those associated diseases, which are not just lifestyle diseases, they are diseases of genotype and phenotype. How are you going to live to go and collect the money that Ken Ofori-Atta has squandered? And yet, NPP ministers today are the biggest real estate developers in this country. You know why? Because the money they've stolen, they can't take it abroad anymore. So, they are, we say in G, or almost Daniel, they are using it to build humongous estates. Go around all the prestigious areas in Accra. It's not uncommon to see that somebody's house has been bought, is broken, and an 8-story building is coming up. Ask who owns it. And they are using shell companies, third-party companies. I mean, what government steals land belonging to mental patients? You see, Honorable, hopefully you get to Parliament. Sure. And you people need to ask questions. Which group of people take land belonging to children? They've stolen children's park. This is an added children's park. They've stolen it. Which group of people take land belonging to a place that has been mandated since 1950 to cultivate flora and fauna that is rare orchids, parks and gardens? They've stolen it. And then they steal mental hospital. About them for Asasi Maria. What does that say about you? What does that say about a person who goes foraging to steal from people who have mental challenges? The colonialists, who we can say had really no interest in this our country, for whom we said we wanted self-government, knew that there were areas in the city that needed to be green no matter what. They knew that you had to allot places for children to play. They knew that society had a place for places like Boston Institute, Correctional Institute, within a city where underage offenders could be brought back into the mainstream. NPP have stolen Boston Institute. They have stolen the Children's Park. They have stolen mental hospital. And today, it is not uncommon for them to sell the car park of schools. There's a certain school in Accra. I won't mention the name. They have emasculated part of their car park. And somebody is developing office buildings in the car park. The schools are cantonment. Those who know the school know what the school I'm talking about. So, when, at what level do we say that enough is enough? Do the MPP want to see what happened in Kenya for them to sit up? Do the MPP want to see what happened in Burkina Faso for them to sit up? Or do they want to go further? For them to realize that there's a point at which we need to withdraw and say, thus far, no further. President Rawlings ran this country for 19 years. He actually made AC Sutherland Abbey Park better, put more toys, more swings, grew more grass there, and gave it a name. The NPP came to power. They are stealing it. And you know what they do? They say, in the name of public-private partnership. Right? As we speak now, the prisons land at cantonments. That one too. The people have been told to move. Because we've given it to a private. So, when does it stop? And unless people begin to stand up and say enough, like the people at Parks and Gardens have said, we are not moving. Like the prisons officers have said, we are not moving. You are not selling Monster Institute. No matter what you do, we are going to die here with you. You put up the wall, we'll break it. It doesn't matter how many national security operatives you bring, because we ourselves are national security operatives by definition. Unless people stand up, like the people of CSIR stood up and said, you are not selling our land. That is the land opposite the Wyatt place in Roman Ridge. CSIR, they said, no, you are not selling it. Unless people begin to act, this is what we want. But Dr. Mohammed Amin will come and tell us this utter rubbish, right? Complete bull crap about the economy, that your economy is going to perform. An economy whose debt to GDP ratio now sits at 86.4% and is projected to hit 95% by the end of this year. You sit in London and you tell us this crap and rubbish because you think we are all idiots. You are a token. You have been a team for say oh my ya, oh my baby foul, semini, and made you a token. Are you serious? Sana, an unspoken part of what happened to people's finances during this, whatever it is that they call it. I don't call it DDEP. I call it death and destruction. Many of the people who had treasury bills, at the time the city was tanking, wanted the treasury bills, Colonel Ferretta gave an instruction that nobody should be paid. So the people were not paid. And the banks did arbitrage on people's treasury bills. So when the city tanked and they finally got it, they had lost value. For some, as much as they recovered as in nominal value, and if you understand what I'm saying, nominal value, some recovered only 25%. And you sit there, you tell us the economy is going to get better. And who's watch? Because you people go to sit on a board meeting, one board meeting at commercial bank, you collect $34,000. Right? So clearly the economy is good for you. But not for the rest of us, who have saved our money over time. I mean, when you are young, what are you taught by your parents? When you say for BCA, we only found out under this Atim gang that your bank account is not safe. What they have done is going to undermine confidence in the banking system beyond our lifetime as we sit here. Because I am telling you, as we speak, whether you are a Fifanto, whether you are a Jinamwa, whatever it is you are, you and I both know that if you get money, you are not going to go and put it in the bank today. The best place to keep your savings is under your bed. You know that. Even my uncle Kwesi, who is a patriot, will agree with me that when you get money, the best place to put it, at least under this government, is not in the bank. Because tomorrow morning, they can tell you something else. This government is the only government in the history of this country that has declared bankruptcy, insolvency period. It is the only government in the history of this country that has expropriated people's money. And expropriation is expressly forbidden in our constitution. But they've done it. Because they can't do anything. This government is the only government in the history of this country that can willingly do anything, defend it, and when they finish, the moral society is quiet. The last time we heard Madam, what's her name? The former head of the GJA. Let me sit well. This is the same one. Remember prior to 2016, when she goes to pray at Aglo, she said the devils running this country should go. 2 weeks ago, she said we have doomed so bad people are getting married. Pasana, you got married not too long ago. When you get married and there's doom, so isn't it better for you? Considering you are going on honeymoon. You need electricity during your honeymoon. Don't laugh. She said there's hardship, but we are smiling. This same woman's financial institution was closed down by this very government. Unity. It belongs to her and her husband. They closed it down. And you know why she can't talk? She's a lawyer. Lawyers call it prior bad acts. Nano, I didn't know. So she can't talk. Why is it that Reverend Otabel cannot talk? His bank has been taken from him. Right? This is the same man who boldly predicted or prophesied that the cedi will hit 10 cedis under President Mahama. That governing a country wasn't that hard. When his bank was taken, and the managing director of the bank was put in jail, was put on trial because he's now in jail, they said now you stop talking about politics, he's watching animals. He's watching the lions of Etosha Park on Discovery. That's what he watches. You see, in my narrative in the beginning, I talked about an old Chinese proverb, be careful what you wish for. They have gotten it. And because they have gotten it, they can't talk. Do you remember my former moderator, Ansah? Now he said he doesn't talk about politics anymore. This is the same person who saw that he was brought brown paper with money in it that he refused to. But he still realized that there were dollars in the brown paper bag. So unless my former moderator has X-ray vision or these days MRI vision, how could you tell that there were dollars in the brown paper, that it wasn't a see-through polythene bag? You see, they're all quiet. They're all quiet. Did you hear the Peace Council? The Peace Council supports the EC, right, to engage in ex-ante rigging. Peace Council supports the Electoral Commission and the NPP apparatchiks to engage in ex-ante rigging. Senna, there's a malaise in this country. There's a malaise in this country. And it needs to be corrected. And if God gives the NDC power in 2024, the people of this country are going to expect that that correction happens. And I want to encourage my friends in the NDC and my brothers, my comrades, that the time for father or for all is past. The people of this country want justice. The people of this country want you to find and punish the government officials who have stolen their land, who have sold their land to developers, who have disenfranchised them, stolen their pensions, and made them destitute. Etikatasumu will not be tolerated. Sana, how many of us around this table do not know somebody who has died in an accident on the Accra Kumasi road? We don't have a motorable road between our two major cities in this country. And yet we found $250 million to host all Africa Games. We have found $250 million to build a new Bank of Ghana. And if there are any group of people who should be working in a tent during Hamatan, it is Bank of Ghana officials. Because they have printed $86 billion in cedis illegally against the very Public Financial Management Act for which they were part and contributed to promulgating. Because we are, somebody should correct me, but we only allowed 5% deficit financing, isn't it? And they have printed it is on the orders of Kenufuriata. We have found money to put up a $10 million residence for the governor of the Bank of Ghana. When teachers haven't been paid, doctors are asking for better conditions. Nurses are leaving this country in droves, like basically like what do you call it? Like a mosquito going to his in-laws' funeral. Right? Other nations, the most xenophobic of all nations, are poaching our health officials with alacrity because of the quality of the training that they've been given. Right? And what we have done is we are allowing it to go on. We hosted and spent $250 million on All Africa Games. Then what kind of medals were we winning? Arm wrestling. Right? So we were winning arm wrestling gold medals. $250 million to win arm wrestling. That is what we did. When we could have spent the money building more hospitals. We spent $58 million on that hole, that black hole, that cavern, that monstrous carbuncle that we have left in the middle of Accra. $58 million. Those $58 million, it couldn't have tarred our road. And yet, I tell you what, last year, we borrowed $70 million from the Brazilian government to tar roads in Accra. You can go and ask the DUR. So, Senna, what is wrong with us? And then you have a finance minister, that token, who comes to tell us that we should be happy that he has rescheduled our execution. In the coming months, and days and months, you are going to hear that Timothy has chosen Matthew. Right? Timothy. Well, I said we are hearing that Timothy has chosen Matthew.
He dare not do anything otherwise.
So, Timothy and Matthew, the disciples of deception, arrogance, and failure, between the two of them, Bawumia has failed at finance and economics. Right? Matthew, aka Napo, has failed at education and energy. So we have the pillars of failure. Right? And if they manage to steal the election like they are planning to, the EC is planning to steal the election for them, can you imagine what is going to happen? Graduates of a failed system of government now running the government. It's just like the lunatics running the asylum. But in this case, they have stolen mental hospitals. So where do we house them? This country is on a precipice. Senna, we need to be very, 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 very careful, because this country, and there are people around this table who are more steeped in the history of this country than I am, people have been shot for nothing. Given what we have done in this country to the present time, what did we shoot Achampo and Ekufu for? What did we shoot the Nakote for? All the people who have lost their lives. And I think this week, Max 45 years since those generals were executed. What did we kill them for? Don't we owe their families an apology? That some of them were shot for borrowing 50,000? Given what we are going through in this country, what will we do to those officials? Our pensions are gone. Our lifestyle. I mean, 3 tomatoes selling for 20 cedis. 3 tomatoes selling for 20, both float, 2 cedis. 10K, 5 cedis. And the 10K, if you people have noticed, it's yellow corn. The people who bring us the yellow corn, do you know what they do with yellow corn? They feed it to poultry. They feed any poultry in Google. Senator.
Engineer Chumbwa for number 2. That's Kojo Chumbwa for. Let me do a few of your comments. If you just join us, the discussion is the discussion on restructuring the Ghanaian debt. This is Tijani Osman who says, good morning. Ghana must change its laws on anyone who wants to be part of government. Both members of parliament and ministers and all government appointees should follow these new laws. Their children shall school in Ghana. 2, no one should go out of Ghana for medical reasons. Like that, when you go to parliament, they will do the right thing by making our schools better and hospitals too. Franz Godwin is also joining us. God help our ancestral homeland Ghana to have good leaders that will steer the affairs of the nation and save the future generations to come. We pray that for leaders. We pray for leaders who want the steer by force. Okay, will not get it, but we will protect our dignity and pride for the alien economy to be safe. So help us, God, to get rid of these bad leaders. Bedu Kwame says, in fact, if we're not allowed these crooked, gangsters to go score free, I myself, okay. Thank you very much for the message. This one, Tijana Osman, I'm really proud of Kenyans, Ghanaians. Wake up. Oh. This is Francis Otu, who is joining us. It's sad to hear all these things happening in Ghana, but some of us still, our future ahead of us. We can't risk our lives for any further demo. It's either you stay quiet or leave the country. Francis Otu sent that one. Senior Sly is also joining us. Ghanaians are fed up with the ruling NPP government. Change is coming to NDC more truthful than NPP. Ghana's economy has passed the worst phase. The most dangerous lies are those who think they are telling the truth. Don't trust someone who lies to you. Reject Baumia and kick MPP out. That is, thank you for that comment. There are a few more I'll go through, but after listening to Comrade Kwesi Pratt Jr., his thoughts to conclude this discussion on the DDEP and what the finance minister says a conclusion to our debt restructuring arrangement.
Well, I mean, nothing should surprise us anymore. You understand? Because what is happening under normal circumstances ought to be a big surprise. But after 8 years of enduring this government, what can surprise you? There's nothing that can surprise you anymore. Now, I listened to the finance minister in a celebratory mood and actually making the claim that after these achievements, the new patriotic party is now unassailable, and that its main opponent, the National Democratic Congress, has nothing to say. That virtually saying that they've won this election already because of what he claims to be the achievements of the government. What is the achievement? You are heavily indebted, so heavily indebted that you don't have the capacity to repay. Those who gave you the loans want something back. They have two options under these circumstances. Either to lose everything or to claw back whatever they can get. This is the options that our creditors have today. To lose everything or to find ways of clawing back some of what they have given us. So they enter into an agreement with you and say, look, you owe us so much. We know you cannot pay. You don't have the capacity to pay. Okay. So as a goodwill measure, some of what you owe is forgiven. Listen to me carefully. Some of what you owe is forgiven. You are going to have to pay the rest. Huh? And how you're going to pay it is that deny your people employment. So monies or resources which have gone into paying salaries and so on, don't spend it on salary. Don't give your people employment. Keep it aside so you can pay us. You understand? Increase taxation. Increase the level of taxes so you can accumulate some resources to pay us. Increase tariffs on electricity, on water, and so on, in order to accumulate some resources to pay us. Let your people suffer more by increasing the price of petroleum products in order to accumulate some resources to pay us. Not for you to develop, not for you to build roads, not for you to build gadgets and so on, but just to enable you to raise resources to pay us so we can get something back. My brother, this is what we are celebrating. This is what we are celebrating. And we should not forget that what people celebrate actually reveals who they are. And if our government is celebrating this, it tells us very clearly who and who we have put in government. You know, I'm so troubled. I'm so very deeply troubled. Because if you watch our history, we have gone to the IMF for bailouts 17 times. And every time we have gone to the IMF, things have gotten worse. Check the history. Okay? And yet, we keep going to the IMF all the time and hoping that something new would come out of these negotiations. Indeed, our leaders have forgotten the advice which was given by Einstein. Einstein's advice is that, look, if you keep doing the same thing all the time and you expect a different outcome, your head must be examined. This is the advice that Einstein gave a long time ago. And we keep doing the same thing all the time and expect a different outcome. Our leaders, according to Einstein, not me, need to have their heads examined. It's unbelievable what we are doing. Now you see, in 2001, the whole world went into flames. Why? Because at the time, developing countries, including Ghana, were spending 67% of their total export earnings on debt servicing. And there was a crisis, global crisis. It is that global crisis which went to the development of the concept of HIPIC. 67% of total export earnings, and the world was in crisis. Now look at Ghana's situation today. Today, we are spending 128% of total national revenue, not export revenue. Total national revenue, 128%. Debt servicing, debt repayment, and public sector emoluments. I mean, this situation is far worse than the situation we were in 2001. Okay? Now, in 2001, what happened? We were given debt relief, in fact, debt cancellation, not relief, debt cancellation. We were given concessionary loans and so on. I mean, so much. After we had climbed the mountains and declared from the mountaintop that we were highly indebted and poor, that we were in a state of hopelessness. We are in 2024. 23 years later, we are in a worse crisis than we were in 2001. Again, confirming that the IMF and the World Bank recourse to the neoliberal economic path does not resolve any crisis, but only deepens the crisis. Now, what surprises me? What surprises me? I've already said that that issue surprises us. And I'm saying that what surprises me, because even within that sphere of no surprises, there are some things that are shocking. You understand? Now, what shocks me is that our leaders perhaps are so daft that when they are told, when those responsible for underdevelopment tell them that, look, there's no salvation for you, they are so daft that they can't hear, they can't listen, they can't understand. Yes, I was in this country, we were all in this country in 2001. When the representatives of the World Bank and the IMF
for a call of Frewa or Yusu for a purpose. All right, so young girls are a video.
Look at the big hospital. So, Papa.
Yes, so, Ma. Government is building teaching hospitals, district hospitals, polyclinics, and health centers all across Ghana.
New schools, new roads.
What?
Here they be, Papa. Yes, over 1,500 basic school projects, 60,000 laptops, and over 6 million textbooks for the students.
Wow.
Masa moye dede.
Papa, because of small construction, you are happy. Sorry,
not just construction, madam. This government has provided over 120,000 jobs through the Youth Employment Agency, and over 400,000 are employed directly on government projects.
We are waiting for change.
Oh, don't worry, my sister. There's more ahead. This is just the beginning. Just let me continue driving.
Yes, don't call me. Come and see, oh, come and see. Follow me to see change.
Hey! Now you are talking. Change has come.
Driver, my NCY, we don't want to stay here.
You want to trust someone who has not proven himself?
Don't worry, I'll wait for you. Let's go. We are in this together.
Welcome to change. Are we walking?
Where's the bus?
Don't worry, our bus is bigger and better than that one. Change is coming.
Is this the change?
Oh, don't you touch me. Come back, oh.
Driver, let us back. Thank you. Now shall we begin our journey? You don't have to look far. Change isn't coming. Change is already happening all around you. Vote for John Mahama in the 2016 election. JM Tuwaso.
Advert way. And yeah, bittersweet. I'll say this is deep, very, very deep, very deep. This concept, very deep. I hope, sir, the NDC campaign team, now the campaign team is in place. So they will put things together. Amanfa Omukoja Ekufuado 2016. I am telling you about 80% NNU omu, especially omu lead the Ekufuado campaign in 2016. We have those ya omu timin kasa, Ferrier, and Niwu. They are overwhelmed by the negative events. And yama Ekufuado neba umia ayamono ajiwomunsem omatobaha, they can't say anything. There are few ones who will come out and they will come and talk. And there are others, they don't want to talk because they are protecting their businesses. But the truth of the matter is that, look, things are really, really horrible, very bad. You're my way, I see ewo hono. The entire me boss had way over the weekend, me share MPP penny bi. During my days, ewa Asempa FM, we were friends, but ye yaka. Because if you say me na me nye fair to Ekufuado. Just this weekend, last weekend, me share no. Me decided say I will just ignore him. And I pray my Betty. No, so Minia said the Akosu, the Akosu, a trim. And I'm saying, hey, so, and commodity Munuano. And he's like, Bobie, at the end of Namunim for Ekufuado, one, I ye party for no, ye nim. Again, an amunim for Ekufuado one name. And I'm a catcher and say, but science was going on in the party. He being the opposition leader. And your man who are young party, clear that on it, Baumiomu be do a minor bonnie. So this is a clear. I'm for more Dawson. When you go to the creative industry, kakra bi na aka na ye still sika ni bi aka ase nti yensesa still sika ni bi aka ase today oman etise Ghana nkola omukotro BC omunim so omoko so omobawo so omokotro they don't know, they don't even know what is happening. And in this situation, if you tell me say we a media practitioner now we are neutral, then I know you are a criminal, you are evil. And here the busa questions. Here the busa questions. Nah, you are stupid. You are a criminal. But the fact of the matter is that like open baby at tena. So that when NDC is doing their own things, a bit to me, many panelists who are sending me messages. It remains a prophetic ad. It was very predictive of today's realities then, a very emotional tragedy. Yes, Nana. You are a thief. That BC, I can say, almost like 1 week or 2 weeks. Yeah, no, I'm not sure. And then 21st, I'm not sure first week of next a month. So like a week and some days. And the government is struggling to pay. The government is struggling. Do you know why? Oma wies kanina kufad ne ba omian ma wies kanina with their families and their cronies. Oma wies kanina. Ghana, where did we go wrong? And here fa near fire. Ya bedru baby ya dream. So sometimes we tell me if you office come, please, come and reform, and let's have a conversation, because we are in this together. It's a sinking boat. Why? Look, let me ask you a question. Listen to me carefully. Nebusa will trim say, Akufo-Addo be di president or Neba Omia. Ana sabeta frache yenim se emre biara bibi kwananim John Mahama ja $38, let's say round figure 4, agreed. And then after 8 years enka dollar any cedi ye 8 cedis and not even 10 cedis. Why should Bobie Ansah come here and be complaining? I'll be stupid. I'll be stupid to complain. Okay, so another example. Kwame, when you tell me what from Sika more than 3 billion Ghana cedis or so, claiming say Ode a PFG, right? Phase 1. PFG phase 1 no dianya sabaya Ghana niya otua taxes no on sign fa sika enkoto aduane mfudie a ne boarding make mfudie. We are not talking about the Indomies ne macronis no aye crab ne sardine. So Macedon ma stress on it. In other languages, minim say the mbesiaka mfudie in Ghana obeka say because you think so in Ghana mfudie. I'm talking about bunch of body, tomatoes, onions, garden eggs, contumely, those mfudie. So when you take my money, say what they call PFG. Sabaya me menya en aduane ato. Then at the end of the day, as a Ghana need tomatoes maku 5 30 cedis 2 10 cedis. So the average man or Juma ministries or any other government worker, the one government worker, paite edge 400 Ghana. Se paite woni pa mienu ka no ho because ni offer asibi nim say of a Juma wokrum. O de enyo ane nete obesra no. They need to cook. They are 3, 4. Oka che paite so ongote tomatoes 30 cedis from a year aduane a day. What kuno? So then they need to resort to a year tin tomatoes. To a yin toast in bakwa no tin tomatoes ne gum bam. Ya no na e create sa problem te na akola 15 years, 16 years kidney. Ono monsa onya hwe. Nkokurafo yo mo kroma hwibi no mo ne nam ho. Akola 12 years. No anya kidney dysfunction. Now anya liver problem. Ghana need to be into vegetables. Cabbage. Sanya ma we efrefreduane many pound ye den. Okay, I said the PFJ, if you have done it well, why should I sit here and complain? Why would you catch me? Then atosodia ingredients. Then you have the agric minister. Now agric minister na catch say in toast ni Ghana na ono nani abre. Be champon Jimmy in some no catch ni binu no. In toast ni Ghana. Nintos ni Ghana no koka hotel ho asem. Why na men toast ni Ghana? Explain to us why tomatoes ni ho. Inti quickly no odwane akwa touch they say aduane ni ho, which means your government has failed. Then when you have this stupid guy by Champon, knowing that the government has failed, on some microphone more platforms so no catch us uwi ni kura ye mfa mawo chese so mine be say ono bra Champon be ye no ono no oyo okay in this mo say no kura no a on the and say or mine and say everybody should suffer. He knows that there is no tomato. He has admitted, true or false. Yes, by Champon. Namen bonidin because namen test what can wasem. But for the agric minister to admit that entos niwo and yemen niwo aduane niwo, and he couldn't explain why. He couldn't tell us. Unfortunately, he was interviewed by a sycophant media practitioner. By Champo Ubusan hard questions. Oshawa on kasa ho. Omanyen interview biu. The last person in my life I'm going say I want to interview him by Champo, or I want to go to him for help by Champo in my life. How possible? Because I know them. I know where they are coming from. These are guys who are working nothing. But he's interested. Okay, assuming that Akufo-Addo Bawumia taking power. Ana September 3, omo ayusu aye de kotoka and omo see the same thing. Because what John Mahama did was that, look, sika a free aviation oba abai ono, ye percentage no monkipi, yemfa yanko pa bosiamra, ni yemfa service bosiano, ni yenye project we be more money sika. Today, go and check. Terminal 3 one of the busiest airports. I'm say third as a fourth. Our Africa is giving us money. I won't talk. Let me cite examples, baby. 8 years. Yama menum ti Kumase. 1. Oka chom say ejetia market no joma ma ontimi nye no oye. 2 mukofa ma eyi wo mo be demonstration joma ma no oye. Owi en we jaw sika for phase 2. Use the money to finish the phase 2. Osmenye mini aba Samira ko Kumase a na okọ joma ma e building no mu na ogina building no kajetia market no mu na ofra joma ma incompetent party enti say ni pabo unka chance wajibi wo yoba no wajibi dodo o work as wo sister and wo ya no ukura the vice president this wo 8 years ni enipa ne ko no owie phase 1 and oja usika say for ye phase 2 assuming your mama enja usika but the phase 2 is there said the okope sika be ye phase 1 no ma omo no osu kope bi bra be ye wa meye wa nye 8 years now ade na ka wuram uduru ho nyina afu ofri ha na okọ edan no mu no akọ kumase market women na ujira edan na your mama si ye no mu no the okurant mi anya no esimu anim sei na ofra your mama incompetent you are mad what bodam you will never do this. So the politics now be decent. And I keep on telling people, Adam say I'm say Kwame Sifaka is on neutral. I'm say very good. Why use neutral no they are beating Krofuache? A scam. But no say you are scamming the people. So that and this you can enter there, go and chop, MPP can. No, it's not a matter of chopping. It's a matter of principles. Because yeah, chichire on mine chichire one day where I sit after 10, 15, 20 years, obi bebu say, hey, akwara ne friend Bobie nkro away. Wago. Esa another generation etwaso. But at the end of the day, what is scamming neja womo? Now you are confessing that there is nothing like neutral. And it's true. What is the meaning of neutral? Why should I be a neutral? Why BC they can't pay? The government can pay. You ask the government, where is the money? What about the money figures? That a GRA or more tax revenue or more ICD target. Scanner or infa. Oil scanner or infa. What to me various funds at the tria a friend say Bosnia or the Akosia collateral. So all say stabilization fund now President Mills President Mahama Botto was say on my way ya what say ya now stabilization fund ni akwa yibi every muno now what the Akosi awrowa ewia mi tie a friends a Ghana education service na me re kra ho afei na omo chief director eco finance ministry so enkola na nye clear whether they are going to write it or not. So anybody brenu no omo de akufado buy no, they are disappointed, they are confused, and that is why I played you this ad. Manuasi bibi koso kumase audio, just listen to me carefully. Audio school feeding caterers or more platform school feeding caterers association Ashanti regional platform me pese we tie nkoma koso platform no should be keke. Just listen to it, just listen to nkoma no tie nkoma no keke, tie nkoma no tie nkoma no ode tie baby a obi an ode tie oh mamu tie enkoma ekoso with school feeding utie wo manum asem a eya scan away watcheska. And you see, Tio, mammy tea. As well, I can now both no. Minia, Tobo. Bro. Simmer down. Tea. Sir, school feeding for no. Ye cha your friend say budget. Omo your budgeter. They factor them in. And omo the budget, true or false. Omo the school what do you call it? Free senior high school budget. Almost factor sa caterers no ino. And the question is obia busane say, is it that omunya approval emfa nyi scan na so omu discan no omu discan no scan no e wan fa If I ask this question and you think Bobie is being too hard, rough, let me name the how argument. Scano Efa. Oh my Scano, they have stolen the money. Commander, something is going on in one of the government schools here in Kaswa Brigade. The teachers are taking 4 Ghana cedis from each student in the school every day. Don't blame the teachers. Don't do it. My catcher, no, my catcher. No, even with the what do you call them? DCs, no. Don't blame them. How many years can Charlie? Nothing do. Because a critical situation. Very critical. All right, so what a trotro, what a taxi, what a Uber Yango fuel station. But if you ultimately can cross the country, Ghana. Tie, where Ashanti region school feeding caterers. We picked this tape from a on my platform. Listen to the complaints. Today I'm not talking too much because Chasakowa, Honto, Lison and Akusipoku will join us in the studio, so I just don't want to waste time. But just listen to complaints. Emoya. Akwa Bro was is pitiful.
Adra, my hi. I'm besides so important to see you so about my home. They say school feeding for the choir. I'm on the first one in yet. And Yakula, and yet so my fear sick on my enya. You better be a wound naked. I weigh a wound in Adia no foot. And they are singing about the Chinawa Madden. I don't know where sir. Obi a ye adwuma da muntua ye katamu mi ensani ada na mo ya awe hosam sa mo ye so na muntimi so a mo mi enya ye mo mi enya mo fie sika ma ye adan we na ye de bebreki ye iti ye bebreki ye iti o lesi ye mu o lesi ye mu ne we nti mo mi nkeka ne ye ho sepa yesa we kura ye so ni etu ni person ti bia sa onto aba ewum enye ese mu di esika ma ye yakofrifri ni ama kwagigi low fo atwetwe ya da na mo ye sa sama fi esika ma ye be mu naked ne dia bank na honom ne aba abeji esika sama pese ye mo dia ebobo dia aba mo ma ba nyame nka mo
Ansah me catch them say na baumia se obema enka okokuma se no on share groups say nenkobete onam na samia kuni kabo no mun kola we ya BTU no mo age budget na state money free money ena mo makofa bus no ma fani pa ba be gukuma se eni akwa si krum na ya show kambu ena o ma wo tikona let's group them young group go and meet school feeding caterers. Se me ba o me ba Ashanti region no mini caterers nyina asia no ma bɔ maba so ka bete adanu so krom wale se so ufra fijase ko mbe kire ofia ufri mu se ba o me so ufra fijase na ne nananom sa time o mutu ye no o se ne nanaba no tombese na o ko wale ko to obese no osia o papa na ema o mo asefo ka ho ti o mo frɛ no ayi baomia prempe se hwan so so frɛ fijase ka da no bahu so frɛ fijase na wo frɛ fijase an ka bahu. All right, yanti another tape we
ena wo bia ha ewie na me frɛ government secretariat from penny for amugu office ho yes ramo ya pamo chew ya adwuma 3 times ni montwa ye ka enti ababo sia na mo yakwa ye no enti say no motua ye ka ebeso tua na ebeso tua e pese busamo ana se mo pese ebe tie kotum na ya mama ati asese every na kwatum fiada na motua ye ka anya sa ye bebo naked e dia ba ho na mo hu se da wo me ba no mo be pa achew na nka Ashanti region ka bo hu de be koso say ya adwuma 3 times na ba ko kura mo ntimi ntua ye ka ya kwaje nkofo bosia ya ja ba bosia ya fifiri ni emma na nim se nkonkonte na nim gu ase be kan kuruma.
Okay, so my member last one, but there is no need for me to. Kwame, 3:30 is achade no. Some friend try make close machine 10 million, 20 million mudu. To we know ye empacha wa sharp now piatum. Ucha 50 cedis na di 10 million na a day. Yen go to a third audio a down platform no so.
School feeding for comedy a person I can't know. They said yeah, don't know I phone take a little. Don't not for take a Hence, now what any Emma a car and chair call or woman. I might say the binum woo, I do music hall. A binum woo, I might be no idea. I do music hall. Any I can answer. I am for these, I think about to fit. If you can't not to, but they are calling when you're going to say, who was it? When you're going to move fee. Omampanyira omampanyira vice president abo kumasi no arano abe physical kumasi ha ama ye school fee before and no duane mienu ne sane mo fere sika mai abai party no wo be se mo ye film no ka che me film e se de yan fiase bi ye ji sika enye sa wo be tenka demonstration cheche pa na ye be ye kumasi ha e bune kadnera bankana hono no sha de mo plan wa de no mo tete sa adai wo nyine ye wo kwa kakra.
So this is the problem. My main Kumasi na menkodin komo kitwe bimra until izi Ashanti Regional School caterers feeding PRO. Mama akwaba.
Yeah, Jamini Emma.
Boko dia mama.
Boko dia. Nyankopon na dia kwantule. Ni mo kase ni kwa mfale bebe.
Asemo. Mama, ye nim komo. Ya Asante Mampon for the ye kan maame. Me fra Asante Mampon ti me kan maame. Maame, school feeding na dia ba asem, caterers e dia ba asem. Ka che.
Yo. Nia akoso wo Kumase no. Sami se mo litua. Na obu baby say ensure tire contrainer or the boy. Now, Senka, women organizers, any active members, and I am more part to school feeding. Who qualify for contract? Qualified, so also near the enemy. And so, people feel quan. And say, I think I am back to us here.
Mame mpacho position won ye se be betu nka clear. Anyway, so Betas says all three audios are threatening a naked demonstration. Yes, of course. Alexa Paul is here with us. We are all suffering, but some will suffer more. When criminals rule, citizens suffer. MPP never again. Anyway, Bright Upon Jechi says Baumia all the way. Okay. Abubakar is here. Kumapi, Bobie, don't feel sympathy for these people because they are all MPP party members and their heart is still with the party. The consequences of voting for the wrong person. Maria Adams says if you vote for criminals to lead you, this is the result you get. We are all suffering. All right. So, Mama Lizia Siaba, Mame. na mpacho to ankomo no so na enyina yi nti wadaroma to asoma
yeah na me can say sitting president sitting vice president and a year LPC candidate it's about class dia in fact it's the way
sorry. Anyway, a general issue. Phone lines no, and yet telecos no, MTN. Yes, tell no crime, put you no crime, put you na some more the background the change. Yeah, communication minister, I age a taxi ni space so, and was cynical, and or the change a goodness so. Yeah, I was lose. As la pa ni na masalam da ne se ibititi bi so ezozu shakai some go for pa dey to be honest with you se nipa hu omo pa nka be ya me ya se nipa hu omo pa se nipa hu omo opposition as la bet me to change agunese so abrazinese obat me over there, over fine. What did you ask? Oh, yeah, a commanding Crofo was salam down. Mamma, Fache, when I made the M say network, no air higher power, Fache me.
Dear, Becca.
Pacho to us.
Aye, and the dear Miss Uncle Juliano, the minister of Anna may she can see me there.
That's right.
The American say. You're vice president, sitting vice president, or one of my entity candidates. And to know our system, and we need the other to be our economic team also. And we are really wanting to have a media, but who academic calendar. One year, but okay. Now, it's a process, let's finance for one thing. The next time, they are happy to come out. What they take your passport. It's when you have to report you to the government. I say, let's say finances first. Second, we are paid. We are fishing. One day, I saw you in the city, we are certified. And we see a person control, and we are certified to the people. We need to do that. And we are just trying to do baby. That's why we are very nice.
Mama, meba, what's it? Meba. Hello, Mama, Auntie Lizzie. I think let's Yanko Great Accra. I mean, anyway, so government is so because this can be acquire microfinance. And periphone access can be acquire. Yeah. So of fear and I would team here. But young go forward, Digana for no. You have no idea. You have no idea. Omo debonate too much. And a man cano. Oba kumasi abe tu sika gu. One na monsresre. Na Bomian mama, mama politics we know that politicians and adumbe wakano. That yes, me Bobie Ansah. I will never sit behind this micro. I will be a stupid person to tell you whether Rawlings administration Kufuor was worse. Whether even at time I was crying, I said no, I'm paying 170. Why? Things happened. And that is human institution. Yana dumbe wa MPP penini kaino. But Russia Kufuor do niba umiani emo maya. Ojine mwa want tiase. You ask yourself why. Dear Basema. Dear Bonnie. What is the issue? Omo wiye skano. Eddie. And after the on top after the on babo naked o almost just just gata na
demonstration invite me cover.
Hey
I want to make history. Yeah. I said no mo year in 2016 man
want it. To no gaso.
Yes.
Now I won't cover.
I'm sure.
On share a demonstration is seen.
Person me sure on my honkeka. I honkeka
of the year
demonstration. Yes. Now me person me how economy no affect omuni pedia.
Yeah.
On say nipa I say at ye me refi. It me tin class now when I'm twintwam my year boost our body my fresh. To say Ghana you into amabo ahema okotina broche no ye kokko e se bisa no so no milk sanso ena se otiye now body ne na ha.
Okay, my men come back near Auntie Lizzie. Pacho, have it there. Good. This is better. So now we would ye dim komo kosi baby a o church him din tia. Who din tia some this kind of mamo because a doctor, a vice president ebe kumase. So you can take it from there.
Yo. Auntie Madam Roma medamase. Nya meka kodro ni say Dr. Maud Baumia, second vice president, and once MPP candidate. Na only near air so, not our economic team, so, not only near Emma school feeding for my more than 30,000 patrons. Yan fire cooks to grant our home. Nobody near your bitch me, not empowerment. No do near go machine. Near Diane, first term, second term, pay Munaye, not almost say a wedding chie. Near Daya Dania Quatuaba, near Daya Dania campaign. Now said the who cow be the Casacao Capta Boisho yem, 94 that trick. And this is what only a business for Ghana high and sure broken of the Colombo. You say you try me can me near the end to me. 10 years I will never be a near. Now me now the captain sending come on into. A human and you did a boy a this year. Obia boy a busy Obian supplying. The idea sticker. And now saying your position for credit and Yama. Now you must know academic calendar now. First semester 2023 October. And a bit indeed last year December. Now so we had since last year October, but this year June ending, I year from Nobia the catch or take a 1 2 and Kasa. Yentia 70 in our say. Now a rabbi also or your president for school feeding for. She has sent a full go. Also, I know I better tell your platform so. And then you better. Oh, we are control among radio station.
I'll see a friend say. A friend is
Charlotte. Charlotte Darko. Oh, I know I better to my money. The better man. Not so my D. Emma, near the baby June. Now, your mammy be your friend is Shelley or MPP. Now, many are brilliant. And I want controller or call an information upon your himself. First time, Tika, yet dada.
Wow.
My mini and I didn't say, Yabeka, and don't think a Kumasi for no Akawamono. Not grapevine information, Yanani say. Sikano ye Tiana man for the microfinance. And only be so treasury bill. Now I stand back former gender minister. Honorable address for now or cover school feeding who said non-existing schools need those names and also. And only let me again the board the social board. And the said next officers needy. Any school feeding secretariat in Pennyphone, almost schools need the egg. Oh,
I see.
Nobody can share percentage with the amount of not the other country or your platform say, I buy a releasing agents, Mina, and to Munyan to Brazil, to see a very releasing agents, mean Daniel Tiamuka. By then, nobody's gonna pay on microfinance, almost to be a process. And you say, near break, say, near break, and no more Cassia. Say, and where you want to Yaka here. And you know what you make. Oh, yes, next week, a bit Yamoka. Next week, a bit Yamoka. Job, Free, my meal now, Mrs. Pashiza and Rachel, may her soul rest in peace. Say, yeah. There's a contract for me, say. What they financing one thing. Yeah, the following terminal. Not just a little bit near Tiawaka, what media, I put you Tiawaka, no one to football. Where they are pre-financing first term, you are pre-financing second term, you are saying we third term, and one CD about my Ansah table. Only they will move at this Canada. Only any strokes with them. We are never any admission for SHS last term, and not to tell which you are the banner here. Now, Fanny, you go mine. Now, say your mind, and you ran to why you couldn't have your passport to make people, your passport to make people. You know, you're the shit from Apple. Say the electric your mind.
But Angelizi, you have a papa me about Kumasano, more or Pabo Chowie, no, more column, more money, no move which they want.
You can't be Treno. You need the Eka. You need a personal assistant to Kasa.
Answer by Doctor Eba Ashanti region. Why in a Bessiamo? And now on one a Bessiamo.
And yet, any panel to buy it. Send me a partner and with any more Ashanti region. Yeah. And to Nipan and near the Babacata. Not just a little we are going. Now we are what to take come to tell you. Not the legitimate money. Yes, I know the Akoka. And you know the man who said there's a shoddy business somewhere. There's a cartel somewhere. And maybe many of these things from Monica Chen is a school feeding cartel, no? And then they say Mexico drug baron. And then they say Mexico drug baron.
Wow.
And there's a woman in there to meet that platform back with my gay crop. What be so that's officer ultimately? What be so your ultimately? No one needs to secretariat to Royal Day. No Libyan China secretariat, every month to work for us, to work on our behalf. Now, you breath or Nipa Yame Crown to meet for hospital. May the take this and the wood shoot and Rababa for getting ready to surgery. One city only been on that home to show them. And Rababa or dictate and defending Nikon and Nikon didn't make up for years to Gano. Because I'm na sani ebo bra yesi yenya yeku mi yeni Gaza enye Gaza ne yewo no enye Ukraine ne yewo no Ghana yenya yeku mi yewo na yeye social intervention say the whole country but be a public school bi awo no akola bi edidi it's a national cake obi otie krase enu so nya bibi wa aban ho and so me bay me gado wa at least aban be man aduane adi na no sure bowolo omo yamu be da say she can be never the tuma for 150%. Na dia omo dey yin tino so men tia 150% no kwa yin omo tia so ayen because we are craving for anything that gets into our account. Bibi abeto bia no akwa yibo hu dero it is omo tia 150% kwa no mu wie kemi bi wo to kwa yin because you can tell me after the Niama you made. Say, it's on my Sanya, you never party now, so as I break your own thing. Now you can't almost a million. You can't, you can't, you can't breathe here. And to be up and move the hour. I said, my meeting, woman can't show me what to do. No one cannot be here. And yes, I said, you are all can. You never naked. You never naked. Now, so we have been moon and man born naked. Well, sure. Not the one who are with.
But Mama, more after more engagement with a Central Region Party in Penifono, or more person in Penifono, Becassa and Sana, more bay tapes, audio, away, so more engage you on national.
And I make a show and city and make a show in so tire Pontania or Jim Roy in so tire Pontania, all means will be agreed. No one penny for nobody did. Only penny for the president, you are okay. Let me know what they can't tell me. The meantime, the question the question the me. Let me come into. Let me think about dying. I would just buy my pray.
But money, Mama Rebecca Akasa about Tampa.
Mama Rebecca about Tampa and kind for the baby after one of Big Alabama. This can be anywhere I am for the home. When you penny food, the bray Akasa. Ukasa, na eti ko dia ye kan ko a wo ntia ke o mu hu mi ntia after na ye ntia ye ta na mom ye rewe mo especially ye ma me ba ko e ko the same thing o kan me go no ko controller ye ka chen say ye tie ti kan me ba enti na to de bia ye de bia le ta na ye expect say mo tuma na ko mo try find it out na ma information na ye very authentic. I said, we are speaking in German. I am a great trouble. The old man, ye cheer, now a bit more their fact on something, and the idea almost pay at the detriment of a man 30,000 caterers.
Wow!
I buy a tree, you can't say 50+1. Now, what in here you do? No, 30,000 active ladies. Now we ignore it. What position 50+1? No, actually, and more, and what fear no. When the ones you want to question no matter how much you go with them.
Me pacho, oh, the time me busa sano. Naked demonstration no, say etia yemra. Se mo ba ya, ko Jubilee House, anana na adu fie wonima. E wana problem no no.
And no dear, say social media na vibrant. Obi tnani dem kwa mo so na ye naked. Viral. It does not necessarily mean that someone get naked, crack off a lot of points to me.
Yeah.
Vibrant.
Yeah.
Anytime you know, I'm them about naked, I didn't try my saying, and that was the and that's why I said,
also, young person on my ass and Beko Bonti, social media on the Beko fast. Your hold me problem, no say, and your max are Kwabontia, and cut the papa and fat Nanado are buying.
And Chino, Nania, and so we say, dear Aquapemino, Apem, almost a Yutika my. There be a buying Casa and Commission says Canotia and why put up Aquato. And Johnny Papa Yamu Seno. I say, Obitia crossing 1 year, Diane, so Papa Billy Passport is audition, that she can arrange.
Ma onye wa home kakra no ahia be dem content no wa share
person to dia ba me share say e be ma notification unso be tag wa na ko notification no a ma notification say obi
ba wo hwe content no
da bi
odi nto be kuru tri no wa share
ma share I'll just copy and share but now on a serious note,
oh Charlie,
MPP are buying. Now sometimes I meet me trans in my dream say Nana Diako so na see a footwo we in Sakrenipa. I just am sorry. Now so Ghana dear and so any background between Panua, Stirano and Sacrano. School feeding. Omampeni kufo ene de bae. Omampeni kufo ifra bamu na school for nkwada about 500,000 and na benefiting. Professor Mansi Besomu wangunu or expandie. Mahama Besomu wangunu or expandie. NDC Efra Bam 2016 na emofra a benefit of school feeding no 1,750,000 and a benefit of school feeding mo nanado abaye school feeding is still ongoing, but the question is a bema accountant and accountant controller department ebe tuesika say yam fam tia caterers nika because caterers no mo prefinance omo kokwaje bosia ma memfa winner ba ko tell hello wa manta banka me close machine no Mpacha France Appentin.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. So, Matis a CMG sketch there. Abomama. Say.
About 1,000 Ghana cedis.
10 million.
That's right.
Every year.
That's right.
Cause a hip.
Way.
Hooray. You. Hip. Oh, I know. Yeah, that's a congrats. Cause what? Also, CMG sketch again. A true do a dem. Cause what? Enter. Why? Kwame, omo makada ntwa ntema cruise machine no. And 10 million, 20 million, 10 million, 20 million, blue everything, and Nick and everything, 10 million, 20 million, blue everything, and the other 10 million, 20 million, and but star 413 hash blue, array, everything, Suga, a caterers, the grass on my jarration. Indeed, go for me and walk was so trussel. But trying to go for Yama, go for it. And let me me right here. Okay, all right. So star 413 hash, and I make 20 million, 10 million. My catch one monitor, and Breneko. We, my man, more ye. Message 20 minutes be. I to come in, man, close machine, cross it. Ma or new be a number, but and your share. Listen, Aquawa. Go. Don't Yanko. That's a cool 1 minute. 3:41 now. I'm to anyway, what time? I say time that's time that's Dr. Time that's cranker. So now back to school feeding. Yeah. I could father buy school feeding every year. I might see it here. I can't be internet. I wish me a near the mamma of Franois. Sometimes who na will be such a near the many padders and pass on because caterers no or money bepo musica no ma prefinance omko jibosia no mo de akoto nuane no no mo de ama a 7 kwala no bosome miense bia no e wo se aban etuo moka enti omoji se sika no a no makwa akutua bosia na omoje ye no na omoso mfa so de ompeso omode na omode aye etimi di busumi nsia etimi di busumi enkron 3/4 na aban ni ntua aye ekoba ne sa so omoso adwuma no omuntumi enti do ne se okoto emoa nke betimi a 7 nkwada be 100 no odi 200 ento be no emu na esi wonom no unwa ati se nchachira still no yedigu emu no so a yedigu so na asone akugu asese nkwan ukode se ya be nkwan na esi wonom a ade ahu ani ya anwa uhwemu se a ya abenkwan enwo katekwan no so so hwe animu a anwa uhwemu se ya unhia mero unya hwemu se a ema 360 hu anim hu bibia ewom ene de 7 kwada na mentia se school feeding on one penny ku for the buy sirim di kankai
But Emofrani suffer even more whenever MPP is in power. Omampeni Kufo person kofa de baye kofa Dr. Mwakutufo. So hwene manage na bibi anko ye. Na na de ni hu ye. Contaminated tomato paste. I was see kotugu. Na Kwabena ni akwaje momfa mame. Say yebetu egu amana say die. Amwakutufo.
Jump.
Say yebetu egu amana say die. Emema nkwa na di ayare.
Chatarno.
Ano koji ye.
O jumper.
No di feeding kwada no. Ene se nana me su ko school mu a na okwohwe aduane di feeding kwada ya under school feeding na. Se nyo hia na no mama koka ho asem a omo betwe mahama no asibone. Mummisa Kufuado ma me Rebecca ni fie se bi aboa kraman wo ni fie. Se aduane ne ye di feed school feeding kwada no. Ye de man kraman obedi ana. Mummisa Samira Baumia. Se aduane no a ye di feed school kwada no, school feeding no. Omo kraman ne agina mu wo mu fie. Ye de masa kraman no obedi ana. Omo ni nanso anu ne ye de ma wo mo. Because they don't care. I am the pastor who say, na dear cosway, ma akasem. First time I met this will be free. A Kufuado yere or Batampa. First time I meet it. Because you saw Batampa organa about Copelodina.
There be some bomber and Batampa also go Batampa near Bob. Also, Batampa field.
What do you day? What do you day?
She mentioned the name sarcastic.
Next time, copyright, may infringe copyright.
Also, Batampa,
you any person here today. Rebecca Kufo, no, say a Rebecca Foundation. What a Rebecca Foundation, Benny Kumbe, president. Then so called Lordina Mahama Foundation. What a Krans and Kumbe vice president.
And even in opposition, Korean hospital.
Yes, now Lordina, our no opposition. What in the foundation AC hospital. Baby, a painful name of Friday woman a complete hospital, a 10 key project. Now or their chair. Now first lady Rebecca Kufu. One only foundation so akwa see hospital. Children ward be a Kolibu. A Hokwa National Health Insurance Scheme enyejuma. Enyejuma National Health Insurance Scheme enyejuma. Se wo ba na abofra no defect bi ne de ne kɔ hɔ na se unguta 5,000 Ghana cedi cash abofra kwa ya admit no. Rebecca oni abadaye enti se okoka kire ne se maame yakwaje bosia de akono aduane ama amofra no adi aban ntua yesika ahye bosia ne ekobo ansiensi hu ekuye ode wo yedai eka na dwendwen ho enka na dwendwen ho enti MPP na nka se this school feed ni baaye no Omumpo doesn't know how to manage it. Nana Oyelita and Ms. Mahama. Nana Oyelita expand the school feeding program, no, like I said, from 500,000 beneficiaries to 1.750. And sending this here for them. Quarter ni do ya no musika ko. And then this na bet school feeding for year protest. No more protest. Say be scan too. Sano we are no like who go for National Health Insurance Scheme. The same thing. And this will inherit it. No are managing here or expand it. No are putting the necessary infrastructure. No they are too. Like National Insurance Scheme and Peniku 40 and no mutual health.
Yes, that's
one free district where I want to me access to a district way.
Youth employment.
Yes, Professor Mercy Baye and obey the national. NOSC office at the Amomo and almost every region. Professor Mercy Nemahamo make sure see National Insurance Scheme and to no ministries. Region baby Ministry of Health one. Professor Mercy Mahamagamo Musi Ministry of Health and almost see National Insurance Scheme on this same chain.
That's true. Ashanti region has an office.
Almost expanding National Insurance Scheme and Crawford do no energy and National Insurance Scheme no away. School feed can say a youth employment. Oman peniku for na tie. Oman peniku for abamna Ghana mabunu be 50,000 or so na benefit. Professor Mas by triple no.
It was triple is a little way. It was
150,000
more than that.
Na emra bia no back National Youth Employment Agency no. Professor Mas de mraba be share chire. Emma omo office ena mahama so buy no so sabe bie mu crowded less depth and so be kan ho say enkoye say wo be ye community police ana say nursing assistant na de bia wo de bo so me so ane iti yemfa ensa no adwuma so nka ho anom ko fa less depth de be kan ho enti omo a omo de community police no mo ye any community teaching omo ye any omo a ya kire omo nsa no adwuma ye kire nsa no adwuma ni wie a na ya ma ho akade se fa na fa koye adwuma ana ode be kan ho endisi anguno nanso mampani kufo no ankasa ne legacy oja ya kufu ado ba beto endisi beso mu ye ya akufu ado ne ba omi abeso mu na kasa ko masa ase no school feeding is one.
National insurance
scheme is another.
I've destroyed it.
Bosome swa bibi abeto bia ne ate national insurance levy ne ate Mexico no ko. So ba omi akọ America woni companies maku 50 akwasai agreement say omom source adwuma ema Ghana mabunu enti yeto abawia 2024 we be president what Ghana had we here your laptop enti ubenya adwuma America because it be so muso omadwuma no money ban ehia internet emu odin enti na de ko 5G ya de ko 5G
okay say ye ni ajombo du be ka che say adwuma be busu sa
ama ya importing crofo no maba be ye
no mo aba say say ya import
yes na but ade ya ne say you see enka radio and as media adwuma ye entertaining ye inform ye educating the most important thing pa the education and the information I demand crofo na information be ne mfa magana for sometimes when the way I was educating crofo no you assume say a crofo team but ye won crofo bia ade bia sisi o maso sa ade na sisi o maso mamu ntie no kre no eno ene ye friend sa tribalism no enti sa ade ne ko na se ese no kra no a onfa ho enfa no ho tribalism esisi ni paso enti said they can say afutuo nsakra nipa age sensohwe afutuo na etu no for 2016 no wantie ensohwe na to no from 2017 besi ne nanso na mesisa nipa kro no sansohwe na to no obesa akwa repeat the same error ti sometimes ama wo kasa kra na wa bre unsa wo yesa wo kaya akwa message ankrofo beka so na don't sympathize with them oh me hu omomo yes because ankrofo eti Ghana ye hu sade we kan ye sama ya kan ye na wo de give yourself few months ba omi ayire be kwa committee o mosisi a omo be ye video atonyuma ma ba omi asa market on the wall enti amane kana mobo sometimes why abeka say oh we do omo anepe because emaya ye kan nyina no be ko ndisi ni bia nim ndisi peso ema omo ye caterers omo bia ye pamo mu nyina mekura seseseko NPP ni efe no kwame eje ono kwa do fa mema mom kobo omo kobo ma kohwie aduane no guye aduane sija so aye nua omo mu hwie mo ne nkwan ne bibia omo kan nyina tu guye enti NPP fo nko a enti senka NPP eka senka nemmom emofra no because you see asuru mienu ku okwa ya ase a ensensan na ye bre emofra no once ayentu omo ka no the quality of the food the man mofra no ekwa na ekofom because we ni biara wonu ani yesu wanu ani yempo a bosome ne so scanner de abetua sen kwa na nchini wom sen nchini nim sen nam wom sen nam nim sen mo no eyetu jimi sen ye papa sapete once wanu ane die enkra ne dio enkra na nio ubetua ka sa school feeding we ka obi na adwasa 18 kense no woni Richard Kwashiga
yeah
ne wife the late eno na omote penten kwa no adwasa for
enya Richard Kwashiga
courage Kwashiga
Major Courage retired
one the same school feeding MPP baba ma no mu say school feeding we kufu adbo say o business wo mto be kan ya MPP National Women Organizer by first Minister for Gender and Kufuado Otiko Jaba. Before Otiko Jaba, Ebekwa vetting. I'm your proven no. Nabu giri nabu. Achi chess slot. Wachi chess slot no. Eddie ama school feeding. I said that audio. A bayan to kwakesi wo ti kojaba.
I've been looking for that audio.
Maybe never ma minimum so
I've been looking for it. Because you remember he also in that audio no can say omune koku.
Chairman Mahama Adams
yeah. I'm looking for it.
Tomu buy na no mo sha say omo dey business. What you asema ma kan ye? O ma sheda create schools aye ni ho. Non-existing schools and om di na shemu. And they are making money. If you never me about catch Ghana for say or no records and achievement, the policy are implementing be say you eliminate ghost names. And for a payroll. Na ye were MPP I saw me elite and in the four no ma buy into it but me so no adding the policies makuma.
Why would you say yes or more elite?
Oh yes anamoka.
No, yes or more elite no is trying to underpin say is the case but self-acclaimed when
yes anamoka. Sanomoka. But me also no implement 32 policy. I am they said no worker.
It's not the case.
They are saying it always.
It's never the case.
So and in the four they are professors. Yabo as when people professors in Crawford track education minister. Papa no kuma.
We all have bought it.
What try no PhD. Why ya.
The PhD no kra no. Highly possible say otoye. And I say obi pa se ne ba enko say school enko PhD. MA te say ba umia. No useless a very useless.
Nana
very useless school.
Yawo nipa nyansa mu no. Yawo this one so. But nipa Sebi Tribalism asisi na adwemu no nana se ebe kunu kura na akoka kire ne se hwe hu ye ba be kunu a onyi wunni because woni won ka kasakro into betrase amia be kunu se de na wo ken Mahama akope bosia e de sikuma sikitia osie no mosi onya Mahama Didi osi kura mu ye demonstration MPP fu ya lead mu ye demonstration against Mahama. We see we ya fofi anto atado jayabam. O mu si market ni we ya na moto obeti Mahama. En MPP fu ya asa be fra market no. A moto one market shares no mo so baako 25,000 ya won to me na ye in charge. 25,000 Ghana cedis, 250 million. En MPP fu chedema omo ho. Movie ya muso market nkura nya Mahama ne sie otumfo ene koji sika bebi sie Mahama no see market no. That was the first phase. The second phase is not sky ready. Second phase na nwi ne si esi ho ene de omu misa se na otumfo da be na obesi second phase na mai obe complete mai because I must say first phase na otumfo de sie
it will be a kan kwasa se ma na wakoso
enti adentro omu misa you just throw to them common sense true to them tell them amumu say otekokoso na second phase ni da be na obesi awie na de ahia akufu ado ne MPP animonyam esi ho I mean say but ye be kwa sa market na emu asa kodi Mahama atem sa ma no a Mahama esi market na omo ye naked demonstration di na atem eto obeti a Mahama no omo a ne be receive eye ba omi aye e wo the same market bill by Mahama no matter where di Mahama atem rich Mahama si first phase second phase ni si wa anwe ne se oba ye soso kra mfa mo fom ba bia ye market as I said that for second phase no na esi ho ehọ na esi ope banku ato anwumra ko ubenya bi ato ope banku ato banku eba ko ubenya banku ato anwumre second phase ye on fa soso kra mo fom na kwakwa agima manu bodanfo de Mahama ni si wie ya o commission ye de plaque bo ho no no akọwai no no ndo no kwakwa agima manu di akọ ho si second phase ni na wo so fati wanim unsiye yes Mahama mes Mahama NC Lagos Medical Center omuso da bi eye Lagos fo na kwajo omobosia ano musiye na no mo na me propaganda kufu ado si second phase any the second phase ni denye Lagos nesiye second phase ni denye Lagos akufu ado nesiye. This is the mentality Now, dream be a it doesn't matter how long you dedicate your time to educate or to inform them. Enkusiaga egunaswachi. A whole lot trade fair.
That is a defeatist.
A whole lot trade fair. Yatime buri nyinegu. Madan. Yatime dri la trade ya dri wa nyinegu.
We Jimmy ama.
Oh my God, say cause also abansa so. Green bed. Sprinters, flower pot. What was your abansa as ya wasi? And that's one man ne oton cars and in kunya.
Sa near my video. Mamma no London. Obabe se na mamma no oye florist.
Kwabena o kase na eye mamma bi dia. Eye mamma ne dia.
Yes. Oye florist. Eya waton flowers. It was assassin for the past 18 years.
And
yeah, Magdan
Magdan the DMPP bar power on the day South Africa for no buy.
In fact, Magdan Canada Japan yes I did. Omu yusu jatu.
Oh baby a friend say bibi deko okadeko. Oh wait. Sounds home kwaje. Omu the baby amfa. Omu the baby amfa. Wo boom crofo japade egu. Obi printing press worth over $10 million. You wake up just one morning.
Sir, you see, the reason why I feel that when you talk to them, they will tell you, oh, minimum this new way or Bahabeji pick up, way Beji say. So they feel like, oh, and this bar, maybe the idea will be a bungu because I have people to protect it. That's all.
Okay.
Let's just hope.
What the man is simbra?
Beyond that,
another man is simbra.
I mean, if that thing cries anything to go by, Kwabena, Sani Pakrono will have us to contend with. This is from any Mukusi.
There is a Kasana.
I want to come.
The mindset.
Kwabena, I will tell you what will happen. It will not be a prophetic word, but it will happen. Tom Mohammed's government is going to be one of the most unique governments. Whoever criticizes that government will be more heroic than what you have seen in the past. But because look, if John Mahama tries to toe even the line of Akufo-Addo just in a day, his government will be no more. And look, it is the only government that will have to set up by itself without allowing for the public to get it to set up.
But another side of the issue is
because
it's not about criticism. Like these issues, like almost see illegal structures, no. And this grassroots and Ghanaian youth. Hey, Edru Baby who said John Mahama and his people want to do with them. I don't for big Magdan who say. Boys, the bedroom
Magdan. We say the young Ghana for the Munyan
boys. You at that time, Magdan means military.
Say a free so
bad. Not the military background. You be show.
Oh, bad dear, you be show. Oh, quad down.
Will be a central, maybe not because it will be the judge. Sure. John Mahama is the only reason why Akufo-Addo can walk out today and still smile as the president of this country. When people believe that the hope in whom we have trusted and felt say Echina is better than today, no. If he fails,
that is what I'm telling you. The grassroots.
If he fails,
the grassroots will rise, attack people in their homes.
They will feel it,
and nobody.
Grassroots. The rightful owners will come for their properties.
Anyway,
you
are right.
Yeah.
Who do you say Mustafa Bandi?
Yes.
Mustafa Bandi
dying.
Yes. Yet they will face it.
Okwada. A film.
We
are there near.
They will face it.
We are there near. We are there near. And children better be so in Nefifi. Till the I want to be to me no akosa no atom. MPP by Akufo-Addo by Magdan say ono na kwa akwaje. and on the asoja for esiho timamufo no kwa ne abo mutuo ne abo wo yensanchiro ni na akoka no ame ato ne abo na ya bubu na moja nyina gu mu na no free say and this is power madam ebenya asoja for a protect say business adafo no betena se do mo sa cho mo demiri fam there be na it won't happen if you have a president like Mahama even the mere fact say obi dreamy and so that yempo no wotimi take a decision wa ubetimi aboa expose corruption under Mahama no be reward you because under Mahama there was no single corruption activity course wa obi raise ya omudaye Ajiros Debra chief of staff obua they will go after you if you have to resign you resign if you have to refund obe refund if you say confiscate with japadia you better first confiscate I was say fire wa you better fire Mahama and the bia make us say Mahama he is a we appointed and say corrupt we corrupt Mahama ba no more appointment amenye because they trap no the amount me come at you so no say wa adwene say Mahama ba be president before me government na wa be minister na say appointee no ba be wi a so who say Mahama bodin and now I froze the position where menye because they trap or bet what to.
Thank you. I'll come back to you. Listen, we are seeing Kumasi Niamna Adamate so the caterers and my main far way and carousel for the first time, if I'm not wrong, they said I am mischief BC for they don't have money to pay WAEC. And almost more bumper I say this week BBC these are their a car befi and kolani nim so mko akocho but this on a larger scale but Kumasi ankasa wotie ye ma me ne kasa ya Lizzy osi sika ba omi abetu agu Kumasi no so omo ni tua omo ka at least omenya biadi and before ba omi abeba Kumasi no omo ba ka kire omo say omo po omo che omo nka ho asem bia na bibia be fine. And on a larger scale, it seems like Ashanti region is getting fed up with the MPP.
Okay, Kwabena mame enche tiefo na mencha menu asame honto na memo abaso ne adwumaso a wo ye bo my Ghana.
That's it.
Na me banso so no metin konkonsa ne bebre. Etiefo so damase. Kwabena on say there be na me can say I think say today I'll take my time to explain it better, maybe without any anger. Oba Adam graphic designer sending me message me. Okay.
I'll say as we vote the incoming NDC government into power, if His Excellency John Mahama uses his tenure for only prosecutions, myself and other contemporaries and fellow citizens will be satisfied.
To the largest extent. That is all that Ghanaians demand of him.
Just use the 4 years. Don't do anything.
That's all.
Just.
I mean, other things.
If
John is able to do that, Ghanaians should be more than glad. What you say?
Because me na you didn't come on and nipa no be saying say no. We business guys. Now we back say hey, Tikwa say JM we near. Now see me there me jiri say omo focus omo face on a Greek. Na aduane mbrakrum then on rent because the pressure from a honor. Come on, Chamari. I be Janko for Yamma. My brother said, wouldn't you answer? Come very far there. Don't say, Achichi, and there's a cost prosecutions, you know. And so, Sir John to meet 2 Wabunina, Krumbejo. Wabuna, Koba Krum. That's it. Or 2 Wabunina, a Krumbejo.
And that's factual.
Now, say, in
fact, wouldn't say, Kwabena, of all John Mahama's campaign, I think I took a screenshot of it. Me taking memoir post to Sadia.
Okay.
When him say the campaign message, no, the can say or call for an accountability, no.
Professor Jinka say
any Professor Jenna na opoku dia
say I promise
omo kanimi enu abom omo kanimi enu abom na omo ahye, and it is the most watched video and most liked video of John Mahama's campaign videos nyina. As it tells you, say people are just happy when you mention accountability than anything. And yet 24-hour service, a 24-hour economy, no two ways about, no way. Say Ubia be riame. One kind of one said was what and you remember there be near Kochi Cronfor.
We are not expecting Mahama to lay a single brick. He should just amend the constitution and collect our monies with interest for us. Finito.
Simple. And one here. You see, I've said this thing and I'll say it today in a very calm way, just so that we all get to comprehend what I have meant and what I mean. NDC in Ashanti region. Omayama Yadinada Sembi Atuomutrim and Manache. Sometimes I feel so strongly within myself, say it is, I wanted to say laziness, but for the want of a better word, it's the lack of
proper understanding.
No, activity.
Yes, when you understand the activity, yes, you can execute it. When you don't understand it,
some of them understand what happens in Ashanti region, but they are very, very lazy. I think I should use the word lazy anyway to get it better understood. Share, Kwabena, say NDC, ese oye juma ewa Ashanti memua. Ashanti, as it stands, and as it has always been, many people are just living in the dark without proper comprehension of the SCA, even in the past. And I linger for a long time, and because NDC has sat and made MPPs pen some message, for a long time, I bear indelible in the minds of many. But fortunately, when you say recent youth of Ashanti region, they have a different mindset. Me share youth waka say na mame nti ajimi same say na no o ma me simi ko di akire oye first time I met the person in Mampong we ko share we mu Mampong dey some doors, and you can tell say if the NDC sets up, NPP can lose an election in Ashanti region. And that is my problem.
Yeah, a free Ashanti region.
Yes.
We know they be a coso. I before I war more Ashanti region. It's the for a war more Ashanti region. Fantifonia war more Ashanti. We come Fantinu Tower.
Yeah.
Omu behave worse than Ashantifonia ya war.
Oh yes.
Yeah. Mimi no be shy. Or can MPP as someone ma me convincing years and 4 years and 4 years as before. You ever think of Marian and Muso ya ibeni? Ya wonu wo jamase. And o din komose asantini ni chia oka ni bibia oka. Somebody any say o yusu asanti din. Obeka say wi obeko no. Obi jira no odidi asanfo atem. Eya ibeni na e kasa no.
And this is 1 out of 10,000.
Yes. No. No, it's true. No. Because often in ratio, what I'm telling you say, and you can say, girl, no, kumawu video no.
Yeah.
What is it? But ya one wo kumawu.
Yes.
Ninchi ni asifo nyina aka ho. Onu sia no a obeka so oye kuba. Ye fie bi wo Silata. Oy man prisini. Onko ni krom da. Odi 2 years no obeka ye ho. Yeah, yene odi twi nkomo ne manyina wo asantidi waka yefie usia sa nipa nas okasa no oka MPP asema osimi firi Mampong enti wadwene nyina ne se saa na asantifo nyina adwene onfiri ho so And because of dynamics, no.
It's true. It's 1 out of 10,000 because known association a pure accounts and as Asante for Ashanti regional. Omo press conference no issue statement almost stating clear. Omem what ya say MPP the ADNE MPP the team.
Oh baby na say dey across. Na so go say mo.
But 1 out of 1,000.
Go say mo omo what I'm telling no. Where education are you dey man not for you.
Oh yeah ni sir. Obi betina baby aka say say nye Asante for kra no mo yes MPP the here. But the truth of the matter is say
hold on. The point they say, you see, you were before we are warm mampon, you MPP for. And I'm saying, you catch us say, yeah, Asante for there, MPP,
1 out of 10,000. 1 out of 10,000.
Anyway,
you know that addresses my point.
Yeah.
You see, what I have termed laziness of the NDC in the Ashanti region, a core beyond just the tribalism. And I don't want to discuss tribalism because I feel so strongly when it's about my tribe. And everyone does. And I don't want to touch on that. Share. Say, Tuaba was antimem na ene NDC. Eyisa negative mindset bia. Omo ama MPP4 area show mu trim. Ama na beye adia akoye say ene yenya omo to their fate e koso da bia me didi say ye ho abro na mpanifo se wo ye oyem abro a wo ye oto abro a na oje mframa wo yem.
The dynamics are changing.
Now, say NDC betie me ene ewie ya on minimum conform NDC fo a omotia Asante mamu a omotan Asantefo a omopeso omoba NDC a me maame a complain bi a kire me da me ankasa maame adwatema a complain bi a kire me da say enkofo bi but I just give them the benefit of the doubt. Not because of BBL. Say, open nipa or more my wemua. Would you moya my yosem ewagana ha? Omoba my yuku craw agentre ha. Bakupa. Sabi Asantini. Mamencha odiema Asantini marketer. Asantini no cotton wole. Sankra a friend wole.
I say a friend will friend
Kawuro and Krahadi a friend Willie. Na no okoton no yanto. Ena odiko fie ne na nsaso odi aba yanto ne na yanto na chese wele no e go bad satan na fridge ni ho. Ena okotutu fom ena odi share ho. Se mitimi ne banchi share fom na se me bon kofi egu so na ensa dia. Ene mamemfa wele nso share fom. Odi share ho no ade be se na san ne nan no koyere na apro kakra eno oti hu kakra na wo chenwo se momone wo de tu mu a eyehwam na ode wele kakra na o twaaye no eso tu mu nim na enwo ya hwehwe hwam
abeka kuka
ene ebe frɛ no totobi na sa Asantini timi ton totobi ma wa ede na kyese won timi ton akufo do ma bampani na kyese bibia Asantini be som so obeton enu ti so ya mayokuo na unim enkofo a omutimi ma akufo do timi beye mampani obi a wabon sei wo mo so ba omia mu a sei omo so mo beton ba omia kankan adefota wei obi a wabon
money complain about the school feeding so
entino mesre say enawie ayade ehia me pa da bia me pese meka mumi entie sa afutu semwe na yen take notice say wo pe ba bia ye politics power Ghana ha kwa santimem nefa bobo o fa santimem na ultimi the bobo a dia kan nyina no e bonus me de manual si wo ho Kwabena school feeding o say e yade a untobo so president Kufo na de bae the first person obe manage school feeding no ye me ankasa me body a who jumper me of ankasa o jumper na Amakutufo, Dr. Amakutufo of blessed memory. The woman say at some point now Onimi Dinkomo. I still have his chats and sometimes Meridia. He at some point was in serious disagreement with Enyoman Ekufuado Nomoye. And I'm very sure say anyone say you will pass any wupano. Woko.
What you say?
But it was part of the government.
It does not matter. Not all those in government are in cahoots with government. Sometimes
on your position.
He was creating office. Something.
Creating office.
Okay, not by appointment.
Akufo-Addo promising to say, Abaya Mawini, my chief of staff. I'm a prepared to party, me navu for party nibi. Eko di so ko free so minam kachiro. Papa ko to party ma. Justice Munyina ko bia. Chabi, who's the chief of staff party dey wan go bia. Appointment I no anya bi. Enti wo wu ntem no de. Akufo-Addo ntimi nyi no ho free. What to party?
So Lister is right.
Yeah. He was part of the government. Or no akata ko tin office. A special prosecutor office nature. So he was part of the government until demise.
You know here they.
So you see.
Also a senior president. Sada ne sisi wanum no e ho adanya abaja pade binu mi ne betima kwate office ho amana yi awon kwa abana approve nipa na kwa kwate no so a senior presidential advisor ano no ate no office abana
boya the position is on tia bambangolo mu. It was a part of government.
Part of it.
Okay, we look at this logic.
Part of it. What about Bangalore?
Let me go on. Let me go on. On the portfolio, listen. The results of the portfolio, listen.
Okay, no, let's.
So you see, I'm going to for the first one managing the school feeding program. Before I said President Kufu any chair, na senior Bukata